Well, hello everyone. It's Jeff from Mid-Atlantic Craps over here on the Casino Gaming TV YouTube channel. Looking at the chat. Chat's gone wild. Got 30 people here already. It's going to be a good night. Today is the season finale. The season finale of season 1. What else could it be? It's episode 20. I've got people in the green room in Zoom. We want you to join us. We're going to go over a couple rules before we bring my sidekick in here, the creator of the show, Dial In from Skill and Luck. We've also got John from Craps, also in the guest side. And if you want to join, guys, in the description below, it's very simple. All you have to do is hit the Zoom link in the description below, or you can go to crapschat.com, common spelling, and there's a link there. Just join the show. You got to wait for me to admit you. I got to let you in. So if I don't get to you right away, it's a one-man show here. Everybody else is all over the world today. I believe we're going to have an appearance from somebody from the UK before the night is over with. At least I think we will. But we'll see what happens. Hey guys, you know the rules. If you want to ask a question, put a capital Q with a semicolon would help. Put a capital Q, and we will take a look at your question. I queue them up right here on this separate computer right here. I queue the questions up. We go over them one at a time. We don't know what's going to happen today. We're just going to bring the panel on, and we're going to talk about this being episode 20. So now, if you have a comment for somebody, let's say you have a comment for Churro over at Midmo Yo, just put in big letters, just like Churro, and then ask your question. Maybe you have a comment, you want him to comment on something. We can work it that way. But if you're trying to get my attention to bring up a question in chat, then you want to have it in a capital letter, and please, please, please put a capital Q for a question. That would greatly help me. Like I said, it's a one-man show here. Guys, without further ado, how about I bring my sidekick on here? There he is, the one and the only, the creator of the show. I just said to him in the green room, Dial In, you got a haircut for our final episode of season 1, and there you are. You said, nope, you're just as bald. You're not bald like me. Dial In, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing good. Well, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, and all that good stuff. So I just want to get that out of the way first and foremost. So season's greetings.
You know, Dial In, it was a year ago yesterday that you and I did a show over on the Mid-Atlantic Craps channel called Craps Chat. And we did it for about 2 hours and 45 minutes. We had a great time. We had great conversation. We call that the pilot episode, and then we got to talking with John over at CRAPS and Casino Gaming TV, and he said, Jeff, the place for the show is right here on the Casino Gaming TV YouTube channel, and that's where we are today, and that's where we're going to be hopefully for the rest of eternity, or until somebody fires us, Dial In, and replaces us with real talent. Who knows? But can you believe it's been a year, Dial In?
No, it's gone by super quick, actually. Yeah. So I'm
really
amazed.
Yep, it's really 21 episodes. We're calling it 20 because we started with episode 2 in January of 2022. And but either way, it's a season finale. And let me go ahead and bring on John just a second. Let me see if he's got his audio working. John, do you have your audio working now?
I don't know. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, hey! Oh, we're good. We're good. All right.
Wow. My headphones went off, and I couldn't hear a thing. I couldn't talk. So yeah, I'm back.
Well, you know, the technology sometimes kind of messes us up. Look what happened just a couple weeks ago while you were at the Crapsathon in Las Vegas. Man, Dial In and I were geared up. We had people in the guest here on the Zoom that were ready to go, and technology just kind of fell through. But I wanted to say
that was soul crushing.
It was 2 hours but you always have plan B. We got to have a plan B.
Yeah.
So
I didn't have a plan B. I was like, what do we do now? Oh my God. Like, what the hell is going to happen? And I looked around the room and I'm like, guys, I guess we're playing some random craps right now. So we adjusted, but damn it, I wanted that session to work so bad. It's just, it's the Casino Quest. That mall internet is just not stout enough. So lesson learned.
Well, I know that you and I have talked, but I publicly here I'm going to say that was one heck of a job that you pulled the team together and did what you did. I'm not going to name all the names because you had so many people there. Everybody that was there, you were the team leader. It was your idea. 2 years in a row, very successful. Congratulations to you, my friend.
Well, I appreciate that, and you said it for me. It's all team. I mean, last year I hey, I have a crazy idea. Let's just do it, and I just did it. This year, it's like, I have a crazy idea, and y'all went, how can I help? and like 30 people jumped in and helped. And people who you're like kind of your online friends. My wife calls you all my crappy friends. My crappy friends showed up in force, like in person, right? And like, you get to know somebody in chat, that's a whole different ballgame in person. And like, you see the heart of Jen and Ian and Dice Dr. Dan and Steve and everybody. It was fantastic. Like seeing people in person was absolutely the best. Texas Dicer, Chris. I mean, it was awesome. It was just awesome to hang out with actual live people and shake hands and hug and do all the things that you can virtually do here on these kind of shows. But that's why I think this and like Jeremy's, DiceCon, those things that get us together, those meetups are just, especially in pandemic times, right? We're coming out of it, but still, last time you see a live person, it's hard. So this is awesome. It was what a cool opportunity we had to get that thing done. So I'm just blessed to be able to was there.
Would it be safe to say that? Would it be safe to say, John, that maybe year 3 is in the works already?
Oh, already, yeah. So I can let some of the cat out of the bag for year 3. So year 3, David at Casino Quest said to me, "Well, you can use our back table, and we'll give you a little bit of room and a little bit of help, and we'll see how you guys do, and see if how real this thing is going to be." And he was blown away. Like 3 times during the show, he said, "We got to go talk." And he pulled me outside. We walked the mall. We talked a little bit, and Casino Quest's all in on making this not only a yearly event. They want to be part of it. They have their casino partners that want to be like they were watching, and like we need to be a part of this. So you can expect this to be enormous next year with help, not just me and Ian trying to click the buttons on my Mac to make scenes change. Like having staff that actually can produce a show, running some things for us. Yeah, and you got to have like kind of like that prove it episode. Like we did it. We did 27 hours live at their place, and like, yeah, you guys are legit. You can do it. You can pull it off. Now we put the muscle behind the idea, and it's going to become a thing. And honestly, if we don't get $16,000 in freaking donations, there is no next year. So we're looking at the same weekend, right around the same time, like Veterans Day weekend or the weekend after is the idea. Right now, I put a poll out. We're about 50-50, but with some other ideas. But the 2 front runners right now were St. Jude's Children's Hospital and my idea, which was to raise money for not just veterans, but for PTSD in general, which is a real threat in this country. So I think with David's veterans ties, with our ties to the military here in our community, I think that one's going to probably make the most sense, which means Veterans Day weekend might be the one to circle. But that one or the one after would be the 2 target weekends, I think, for next year. And we're already getting ramped up. So, yeah.
All right. Well, good. Congratulations on that. You actually came on the show as a guest this way so that you could talk about something else, which we're going to bring the panel on. But let's remind the folks at home how you can get on the show. We've got 40 people watching. If you want to join the show, I know that there's a couple people that I've let into the Zoom room that I haven't seen them yet, but I've let a couple more people in. Guys, if you have a question for the panel, we're going to switch to them in just a second. Let me go ahead and tell you how you can get on the show again real quick. There it is. To get on the show, you can go to crapschat.com or use tonight's Zoom link in the description below, and you can get into the show that way. So that's the way you get in the show. And if you're going to get on the show, or you're not going to get in the show, and you're going to stay out there in text land, chat land, put a capital Q for a question. And if you have a comment for one of the panelists, or you want them to comment on something, use their name or their initials in big, bold letters. Everybody is welcome, every single one of you. This is the season finale of the very first season of Craps Chat. It's episode 20. A year ago yesterday, we did the pilot, and we came out in January with Craps Chat. At the end of January, we were live on Casino Gaming TV. It was either January or February, and we've been going strong ever since then, and we'd like to have everybody here. Okay, without further ado, how about we head on over here? And let's see these people that are over here in the Zoom room. Let's bring them in. A little small on the screen there, but we'll let each one of them talk when they get around to it. Let's go ahead and introduce them. As well. Make sure their audio is on. It is. All right, so looks like we've got Arnell's in the top corner. Arnell, give a wave.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
You can say hi. I want to give a special thanks to Arnell too, because late this afternoon he sent me his list that he scrolls on Live Fantasy Craps on Wednesday nights right here on CGTV. He sent me the list because it was more thorough than my list of YouTube channels. But I found in the last 10 days I found 6 new Craps dedicated only YouTube content provider shows, and I don't know that Arnell has them listed. But we're going to get that list up to date. Arnell, I appreciate you sending me that list at the last minute. All right. Next to Arnell, there's Churro. Midmo Yo. Hey, Churro, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on. This is going to be fun. I can't wait. I love Craps Chat.
Welcome. You're always welcome. I can't see. The screen's small on my side. It says Phase Dragon. Who is that? Say hello.
Hello.
What's your name? What is your name?
Actual name.
Yeah. I think your audio's gone. We'll go down. That's okay. No, we're gonna go over to just beneath Arnell. Where Arnell's like the keynote speaker there in the Zoom at the moment. And there's Craig from Old Bay Craps. Craig, how are you?
Hey guys, how you doing? Love it here.
We're doing great.
Last show.
Long time not talking to you in a while, Craig. I mean, where you been?
Yeah, it's been hours.
It's been hours, exactly. There. In the center square. We're like playing Hollywood Squares here in the center square. There's the Dejan of all Dejans. He cooks he's a Dejan cook, and he's a Dejan Craps, the Craps and cooking Dejan himself. Chris, nice Dejan, how are you?
I'm doing well, Jeff. Thank you for having me on. Looking forward to another great episode, and looking forward to chatting with all these great friends.
Well, I hope we're going to have some chat. We're going to talk about a couple things today. I'm just marking a question here. Leon, unmute your microphone, and I'll go to you next. And Nemo, Hyperpress Nemo, otherwise known as Black Sheep, turn your microphone on. I'm coming to you next. Leon, how are you doing, my friend? It's been a couple weeks since I've seen you.
Good, great. I've been on a nice vacationing hiatus. Stepped away from YouTube and from Craps for a little while, but slowly coming back.
Yep. And you were in the Midwest, right?
Yeah, I went to Colorado and just unplugged up in the mountains for a little bit.
Well, I went to Colorado back with the Blue Wrench crew. I went to Vegas, and I went to Colorado to spend some time with Chris over at Sideshow Gamble for a few days. And beautiful country there, beautiful country. Leon is from Great Craps. That's a YouTube channel, Great Craps. You can see how it's spelt there. I'm letting somebody else in, and sometimes we never know what we get because I don't oh, they dropped off. All right. Nemo, undo your microphone and say hello to everybody. There you go. Nemo, Hyperpress Nemo, otherwise known as Black Sheep, depending upon what we're doing here. Nemo, say hello.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Just your typical viewer, but been part of the community in Discord and also through YouTube as well, as people might have recognized me off of Casino Quest, for the 30 World Challenge, number 154. But yeah, I've been pretty active, as you've all been known about, and hopefully to be able to finish off a good new year or a good new session of what the heck is going on in Nemo's mind.
Well, Nemo's mind is very, very busy, because I think you've said almost every YouTube content provider a strategy of some sorts to roll out. Some have been successful. Some are still working on them. That's me. I'm still working on mine. I've been busy doing some other things. But welcome, Nemo. First time on the show. Anybody can get on the show, guys. Description's in the link below is in the description below, I should say. Just come on in. We'll let you in, just like we have everybody that's on here. Looking for some questions tonight. We're going to talk about, real quick, we want to talk about something that John mentioned earlier this week. I think it was earlier this week, correct me if I'm wrong, John, about the coffee on Coffee and Craps, about a Crapsy schedule. I promise, guys, we're not going to talk Crapsy long unless Chuck comes in here. If Chuck comes in and gives us an update, I invited him. Haven't seen him yet, but if he comes in, he comes in. If he doesn't, it's still okay. So, John, you want to talk about scheduling and how we do this? So the floor is yours.
Yeah, my only question with this, and I asked you this privately, I think I might have mentioned it on the public show one day, which is one of the things that we all as creators fight is who's going live next. Like, you know, I don't want to be on live at the same time you are, and sometimes there's 4 of us that want to do things at the same time, oftentimes with Crapsy. And there's 2 options, right, or 2 things to think about. One is, do we want to have kind of a set schedule? And like each of us sort of pick a day and a time, or days and times, or whatever it is. So you all know Jeff's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday 2 o'clock p.m. or whatever it's going to be, so you know kind of where to go. That would, I think, be help. And we can obviously publish that somewhere on one of our Discords. The other thing I thought would be kind of cool, and it may not be relevant until Crapsody has their common shared bankroll, but to have all of us actually go live at the same time on purpose, and have 4 of us running lives all at the same time with our own Craps with Crapsody codes, and you all can table hop and say, I don't like what John's doing. I'm going to head over to see how Jeff's rolling today, and just kind of jump from table to table with your bankroll that kind of comes with you. So that was the 2 questions I've got. One is, should we have a planned schedule so you all know what to expect instead of it being so damn random? And 2, would you like to have a 2-hour block, maybe on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, where we're all live and it's like Casino Gaming TV's Casino Hour, and everybody's just going up and doing all at the same time? So I'll leave it to the panel to discuss that. That's just my two main thoughts on it, because I don't want to waste the opportunity that we have with Crapsody, but I also don't want to blow it either, which we can easily do if we do this wrong.
Well, you can see that the Sideshow, Chris has put up a comment there that says, hey, Jeff, put up a poll on that. I could put up a poll. John, you may be able to do it on your side too while I'm talking, and do that. And we'll move on from that standpoint. We'll let the Crapsody side, because we've concentrated on Crapsody quite a bit. I think it's going really well. I know there's at least 7 different content providers that are using it at one point or another. It seems like some of the I don't want to call them flaws, some of the bugs that have happened have worked out. I find it very accommodating now because of my setup that I use here, which is different than others. But we're all having fun with Crapsody, and obviously we usually get the question, do you have to have a paid subscription for Crapsody? The answer to that is, if you want to play with a YouTube content provider, unfortunately you can. It's only $5 a month or $49 a year, and you can play with everybody. I do know that Crapsody is working on a way for us to be able to tell them when we're live and doing it, as well as just an ordinary person. So with that said, John's doing a poll. I hope it's going to get it in there. I'm looking for it to come through. I'm going to say hello to everybody again. I'm looking for some questions. I know that Chris asked a couple questions and it goes back to it, but I guess maybe let's backtrack a second here. Here, I'm going to show you this, guys. I want to show you this. I don't know if John was trying to be a smarty like me, because he put first. I said I was second. Then we had 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and then the next one in there I want to put in there is let's put this up here. She says, Jen says, does anyone call in on Zoom? And the answer to that question is everybody can call in on Zoom. And then Jen goes to say that well, she'd have to get dressed and brush her hair. So you're welcome. Everybody's welcome here. And then I'm going to put this next one up here. That'll clear the questions out. It says, question for the panel members, what is your biggest takeaway from this past year in regards to the Craps and the community? Oh my gosh, that's a loaded question. We probably could all take many times with that. I see the poll now, John. Thanks for putting that up. Yep. I know that from...
I'll do a second one here in a little bit once something closes.
Yep, no problem. I'm not going to answer that question first. I'm going to pass this around, and I know we've got some first-time people here. I'm actually going to go. Let's just spin the wheel, and I'm going to look at Dylan. Now look at that, Dylan. You get to say first. From this past year, Dylan, what is in regards to the Craps community? What's your biggest takeaway?
Well, it's just that the community is one big whole, one big family. And that's been proven time and time again. We're here for each other, and there might be a little lovely spat every blue moon, but that's typical. But it's not a perfect world. But for the most part, we all have the same goals in mind, and we're all wanting to strive to the best that we can be, and to help each other. And so. That's what really counts. It's a really great community. The Craps community is a tight community that is helpful to each other, and that's a huge win-win. As far as I'm concerned. So that's the best. That's the best opportunity. That I could take away, and the best spend that I can give it.
All right. So let's go over. Let's come down to Churro. Churro, your channel is relatively new. You're doing well in the Midmo Yo era of making the appearances on all the talk shows, all the game shows. I feel like we're on TV now. And you've been a pretty willing participant here. I know you had a big part in the Craps for the Cure, and you and Chris did. And your table is on the way. I understand it's going to be delivered in a week or so. But what do you think of the community, Churro?
It's been amazing. Ever since I've been part of it, it's one of those things where it's almost hard to explain. You know, you have your own personal friends that you've either grown up with or that you've met. And then you come across this where I have friends all over the United States, you know, because of this. It's been pretty impressive with the type of people that I've met on here as well too. Everyone is very accommodating and very helpful. That's really amazing. I love that. Learned so much. I can't express how much I've learned from each and every one of you. And of course, Sideshow bringing my table. Just so everybody knows, I've ordered all kinds of new camera equipment and laptop. I've got everything coming. When Sideshow comes and we set up the table, and I don't know if you guys saw my thing on Here's the Deal, but I've got my felt now. So we're going to be putting that on. I'm changing up. My channel is going to look completely different, and we're going to be doing completely new things that I haven't done before, and I'm excited about that myself. So it's been a lot of fun, and I can't thank each and every one of you enough.
All right, thank you. Let's go to another newer Craps channel right there in the middle, Hollywood Squares now. We really truly do have Hollywood Squares. Let's go up to the middle at the top there. Craig, what do you think?
Hey, it's been an unbelievable ride. I'm one of the newer players. I didn't start till February of this year, and this journey has just been incredible. Chiro chimed in about
customers. Oh, hold on a second, guys. Hang on one second. Let me do this one thing here. Yep. Hold on a second. We'll figure that one out. That happens from time to time. Give me just 1 second. We'll figure out who that is. We'll come back to you. Yeah, we can get rid of that one. Oh my goodness. Let me do this here. Oh my God. I was afraid of that. Yeah, John, I'll take care of that, and I'll edit that out later.
That happens. It happens when you have an open Zoom link, right? So
yeah. That's what happens. So give me a second. Sorry about that, guys.
No worries. Well, I'm asking the question. I'll ask you guys here, if you guys can hear me. I guess dial in to Jeff. Who was the actual center square in Hollywood Squares? Now that Jeff brought it up, do you remember the guy's name?
Oh my gosh.
How old are you? Come on, everybody.
It was that.
Look at the chat.
It was that Arthur. The Arthur dude that was. Arthur, correct?
No, it's.
He was a comedian. He was a comedian.
I think it was some people are like famous for being famous. I think he was famous for being the center square. I don't know. It's Paul Lind. And I think it's Paul. Is it Paul Lind or Paul Lind? Paul Lind, right? Yeah.
Paul Lind. Yes.
Snarky Paul Lind. That guy. Yeah. Right. Yeah. There we go. See that? Now there's no. That should have been a giveaway question, Jeff. We should have used that as one of the giveaways.
Yeah, we should have. John, you're going to get a kick out of this. One of those people that asked to join was actually Ian, so I thought it was your Ian. Looks like somebody snatched a name in chat and came in, so I'm going to have to make sure that they're really there. Yeah. So, but anyway, that's happened once before, guys. We apologize if anybody got offended. I tried to clear it as fast as I could. I just wasn't fast enough. Jen hasn't stopped laughing yet. Look at her. She's laughing. But yeah, it was Paul Lind.
Yeah. Yeah, Lind, L-Y-N-D-E. That's what I thought it was. Yeah.
Yep. There it is. Craps Master Journey put that up there. Yep.
Tyler's got a tail behind him. That's pretty funny.
Yep. So let's go on, Craig. We're going to go back to you, Craig, and you can go ahead and finish saying what you were saying. Hopefully, we won't be rudely interrupted like that. So go ahead, Craig. Oops.
How do we all follow that? There's no way.
Yeah. There you go. You can follow it. It isn't the first time it's happened. Trust me.
Uh,
Go. Hey, there you go, Craig. The floor is yours.
Hey, I,
Take two.
You got to be brilliant now,
in all
pal. That's it.
seriousness, it's just been great to meet you all. What I was trying to say on Chiro's thing was, it made a difference seeing everybody in person.
Yeah.
And it changed lives because now I truly feel there's a bond between some of the people that I've met there, that we talk differently now. We now text as well as in Discord, but also just private text. Just we're getting to know each other, and it's just awesome. And what we bring to it has been amazing. I think when we did the Craps chat back in the summer, there were some of our channels only had maybe 50 subscribers at the time, and a lot of us are nearing 500. Some of us are over the 1,000 mark. Some of us during that time are now over the 3,000 mark. It's amazing. I've learned so much, and it just keeps growing and evolving.
All right, appreciate that. Let's see how these things shifted around here. Chris, did I go to you yet? I don't think so. I saw your comment up there.
I'm sorry. I'll put myself in timeout. That was my one and only for the night. I'm done. All right. Yeah, this past year has been phenomenal. I'm technically new this year because I started my channel technically in December of last year. I didn't post a video until January of this year, and it's been absolutely amazing. I want to echo what the other gentlemen have said, that this community is truly remarkable. All the support that everybody shows, whether you have a channel, whether you're just in comments, you're watching videos. It's really amazing to see how much time that you guys put into watching videos that we put out and showing support for things that we do, providing us suggestions on how to make things better. It's really nice to see. And I talk to most of you more than I talk to my friends, more than I talk to a lot of other people. And that's by choice because I genuinely like talking to every single one of you on this panel and a lot of you in chat. We've had conversations, and I really do enjoy talking to you guys. And I'm thankful to be a part of the community, and learned a lot about craps, about people, about tech setup. Never thought I'd be doing any stuff that I am doing. So it's been really great. And we get to have fun while doing it. We get to raise money for good causes through things. So it's been a great year.
All right, let's go. Let's see, Arnell, you've been around longer than I have. You hit your 100th episode of live fantasy craps this past Wednesday night, and we won't talk about my performance on the show because I walked away from it. But Arnell, what does the craps community mean and do for you?
Oh man, it's definitely been awesome. I mean, I joined like Craps chat or Craps Nation basically probably like 3 years ago. Somebody invited me. I think it was Joe Banda, coach, because I'm usually in like a lot of Facebook groups, and I think at that time he invited me in the Craps Nation Skype chat, so I jumped on that. But it's definitely great. Like everyone's saying, it is different. Meeting everybody in person. Because it's one thing talking to you online and stuff like that, and most of the people I remember, I'm sorry to say this, but I remember you by your handles and not your real names. So that's kind of embarrassed to say, but it's pretty cool. Everyone helps everybody out. I mean, it's just incredible. How many craps channels have just like exploded that I've over just within these 3 years that I've seen quite a bit, but it's definitely pretty good.
All right, so let's go down to Leon. Leon's also new. Leon, I know you've been watching the craps community for a while. You started yours. If you want to come on, unmute your channel and maybe add your video back if you'd like, you can, and we'll give you an opportunity to tell what this community's done for you or means to you.
Yeah, it's been very interesting, like everybody else. It as I was getting going, I was looking for a lot of other channels and trying to kind of find my niche. I still can't say that I have. Everybody's doing a little bit of everything. So I think Jeremy's talk from Color Up during Craps of the Cure was pretty insightful for everybody, and he said a lot of what I've been saying for since I started doing this, and is that the production level needs to come up in some places. And I know everybody can't like put on a super professional looking channel, but I think for a community as a whole, if the quality of our content improves, then it's just going to improve all our channels and everything. And so I'm trying to get there as well. Jeff, that I sent you the specs for my laptop that I'm getting ready to purchase, and the one I've been using is just subpar. It's just a little my wife's just normal laptop. Doesn't have the power that it needs to really put out video and live streams and things like that. And my regular home computer crashed on me a couple months before I started this, so I've just been kind of in limbo. And so just like Chiro, the equipment is key, and so that's where I am, and that's part of the reason I've taken a little hiatus from doing anything at the moment, besides being on travel mode for the holidays and everything, is that I want to get to that better production level so that I can improve the quality of the content that I put out, and just the look and feel of everything. I have also been on other YouTubers sort of rabbit hole, watching other non-craps YouTubers and just the way that they shoot their videos, and just going down the many different rabbit holes of everything YouTube and production and making your videos better quality. So that's where I've been, but it's great. It's neat that we have such a tight-knit community. I hate that I missed Casino Quest, but I had other commitments, so it is what it is. But maybe next year. I think we gotta schedule different dates next year, because if I'm looking right, I pay attention to all things Vegas. If I'm looking right, Formula One is during the same time frame next year, so I don't think any of us will be able to afford a hotel room at that time.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right. Well, Leon, you mentioned about helping, and I think I'm gonna let John go before I go, because I know he's very eloquent with his words, because he's the teacher and the instructor, and I'm just the goofball that just says BS's with everybody. But I've helped you were my 18th channel that I've actually been asked questions about and helped give them guidance, not just from a computer equipment, but also how to get it set up and how to get it working, from OBS to let's see, there's Prism out there, you've got StreamYards, there's 2 or 3 other ones that are out there as well, Melon and a couple other ones. I use a different type of broadcast software, but I'll answer anybody's questions. And yesterday, or day before yesterday, I had to call John, or I sent John a text. I said, John, I'm having an issue. Before Sunday, I got to get it fixed. So even I seek advice from somebody. And John didn't have the answer, but you go back to the drawing board, just remove everything and reinstall everything, and you cross your fingers and you hope it works. So let's see here. In the panel there, let's go over to, let's see, this community. Jen, you've been here for a little while, saving Nemo for next to last. So, Jen, you've been here for a little while. What do you think of the community and what's happened? I know you were in Vegas and I missed you, but what do you feel? Unmute yourself and give us a couple kind words. You're still muted, Jen. You're on mute. That's okay. We'll come back to you. Don't worry about it. That up at the top there, Phase Dragon. You didn't give us your first name, and I don't know that your audio is on. But what, as far as the community goes, what type of participation do you do? And I know you just joined all the Discords earlier today. Welcome. You're welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Can you actually hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yes,
hear you.
sir.
Yeah.
I guess I'm doing the audio through my camera. So I live in Las Vegas. I've been in Las Vegas since 1989. prior to that, I was a programmer. I used to go back and forth between Colorado and California. And on the way through, I stopped in Vegas, played craps at the old Aladdin Hotel. I made like $8,000. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just followed what the dealer told me to do. And I just happened to get lucky, and it's a table where people were not throwing sevens. So I racked up my measly $300 up to $8,000 in almost no time. And then I got hooked. I decided to stop being a programmer and move to Vegas. Thought I was going to be a gambler for the rest of my life, but that didn't quite turn out like I wanted. But
Well,
but since I've been in racing sports, I've been in sports books. I worked in sports books a lot, pretty much almost 30 years. So that's where my professional.
all right. Well, congratulations and welcome to the group. I know a lot of people that want to be a professional gambler. I was into poker at one time, met a lot of great, well-known poker players. Some of them are still playing today, but I've not met a professional gambler that still isn't doing some type of side work to make a living. Jen, did you fix your audio issue? It still says that it's muted.
Yeah, I think I'm back.
You're back.
Oh, there
There's
you
Jen.
There she is.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for it.
so Mom Jen is saying, hey, Phase Dragon, make your bed, buddy.
All right. So, Jen, what do you think of the community? I know you've been around a little while. I know you helped John out in Vegas. I missed the opportunity to miss you. I do appreciate, I've said this to you before, from the bottom of my heart, matching my donation between you and I was a nice combination donation. God bless you, and I really appreciate that. So, what's the community mean to you?
So first of all, I think all the credit goes to you, Jeff. You worked so hard. You rallied everyone together to put in the contribution. My job was the easiest, right? Just writing a check. But I was so proud to. I thought I was actually going to have to write a smaller check, and then you kept raising it higher and higher. I was like, oh my god. But all good. This community is amazing. I've only been playing craps since like April or May. I was playing roulette earlier for the comps because I'm all about free stuff. And then, I started watching Color Up, and then I watched John, partly by mistake. And then I watched Dice Jen. So cute. He was such a cutie pie. And it was really the craps table that kind of got me into watching him. And then hearing you guys talk more strategy and being really cerebral about it matters to me because I'm trying to math this out, right? I went to Berkeley for engineering. I'm a tax attorney. I'm just trying to work it out by numbers, but with this negative expectation game, you have to use a lot of your instincts to try to, kind of out edge the house's advantage. So this stuff is just fun. And now my wife thinks I'm watching porn, which really sucks because I'm in trouble thanks to that earlier clip.
You might have seen some just a few minutes ago, but you came on my.
Oh my eyes.
You came on my show live a couple Thursday nights ago, and it was you and Zach and Chris Dice-Dejan and me, and we had a wonderful time. In 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours, we only got through I think it was 25 rolls or something, but we had a wonderful time, and I call that the Seinfeld episode of Craps because we did play Craps, but you were a good sport. Chris was a good sport, and welcome to the community. I really appreciate it, and glad you came on tonight.
Thank you.
We'd like to see more viewers and subscribers, not just YouTube content providers. Come on in here, jump in. You got to put a real name in there, guys, so I know who it is, and I recognize you. If I don't recognize who it is, I'm not going to let you in because we don't need another episode of that. So before we go to John, Nemo, in 1 minute or less, tell us what this community has done for you in the short time you've been here.
More like I came through the pandemic via Casino Quest first. And then I started, lounging around and started watching other providers in regards to, craps and whatnot. Then I stumbled upon Pro Craps and then a few other channels and then Texas Crap Shooters where he got me into the Discord. And it just kind of blew off from there. Ever since then, it's been a joyful ride, so to say. So be able to give back to the content creators what I know from my own experience has been a fun ride.
Well, I know that you've played on made the rounds on the shows. You're going to be coming on my show. I know you've recorded with Chris. He's doing some editing on some videos. I know you've been over on Alfredo's channel. You play on Big AZ's channel. Last night wasn't a really good night for either one of us because I didn't last long much after you. But Nemo, welcome. So, John, you're so eloquent with words. You're like Jen. Can you tell us what you think of this community and what it's done for you, and what you think this community is doing for everybody?
Yeah, you always put the pressure on me by saying that I speak so well. now I gotta step up, right? Now the community's awesome. Here's the thing, right? And I said this in the beginning, right? You do this channel, and when I first started the channel, you're just you behind my iPhone at the time, right? So this is my view of the Craps community, right? Just me on my phone. I can't see a damn thing. I'm trying to do all the good things. For what, right? To try and prove that I know what I'm doing and whatever other the reasons might be. Very quickly, you get friendly with a few people because of the comments, and even people who hate me, PJ Strong and others, right? I consider them close friends because you have this dialogue going back and forth, and it's like there's a camaraderie there, even though that you're kind of whatever, it's you're enemies, I suppose, right? But it doesn't matter because we're all here for the same reasons. What you find is that over the course of now it's two years of having a channel, I don't do videos to quote unquote teach anymore. I'm not trying to prove anything. In fact, Chris and I went live for 3 hours the other night, literally failing for 3 hours and trying to figure something out. That's what the community does, right? I don't have to think about 6 hours of prep to put the perfect video out. It's like, hey, let's turn the camera on. Let's get a friend on with me and let's work it out together. That's as valuable as just putting together some great dissertation, right? And I think the community allows us and wants more of that. And it's like, wow, I get to like button down my shirt, and take the hat off or whatever, and just go out there and have some fun with it and like do a thing with Chris or Nemo or Jen or Ian. We did it together the one day. And let's just do craziness together. And it's like, that's the community. It's not just me from on high preaching to you the truth of craps, right? It's me with you in the trenches, playing around and trying to figure it out. And through the course of all that, I've got friends that I consider actual friends, not just online buddies or crappy friends. It's actually friends. You know what I mean? And I think the folks we played with for 27 hours and the days afterwards, I know are solid friends, right? More to come with that. And as I interview people on my show, it's like I feel like I'm making actual connections in the time of COVID, which the great plan was to get us all to not ever talk to each other again, right? And I think this community, right? I don't want to get political on y'all, but this community has come together, and look at us. Look at us. I mean, it's amazing. We walked up to people in Vegas, and it was like I'd known them for years. How cool is that? It was, and I think this is what the community has become for me. It's like I don't have to put out the perfect video. I don't got to be Jeremy anymore, or think that I got to make this perfectly awesome thing. It's just I got to speak with my friends, and it's with, not at, and it's with, not to. And I think that's what's changed for me. And I hope that all the new providers feel that way too. Like, we don't need you to teach us anything. We need you to be with us and kind of do the whole walking through the battlefields together. That's what it's all about. And I cherish every one of you for that, because God, can you imagine where we would be without all this?
This is true. And
it's amazing.
John, I knew you were going to say things the right way, and you did, and I appreciate it. John started his channel about a month or so before me. We got the same equipment, table-wise, some of the stuff together. We didn't know that we bought it from the same place. John and I touched base early on. We're both kind of geekish when it comes to IT stuff. I'm just an old geek. He's a young geek. But John has become a very good friend of mine. And what I want to say is everybody that I've met through this community, whether it's I go and play in Vegas or whether I play locally here, it's a family, John. And we've become a big family. We always don't get along, like you said, but we're a big family. Most of the content providers work together to promote one another. There are a couple egotistical sides of it, some channels that don't come on here that we would welcome them to come on and debate with them. But typically I look at this. What it's done for me is I've got friends from all over the world, including the UK and Australia. I don't know if you saw that, John, but I tagged you in a Discord post. Andrew from Craps Down Under is going to be back. I've invited him to come on, but I don't know if you saw that. But yep, Andrew's been missing for 18 months. He told me that he had some family business to come in. But for those of you that don't know Andrew, Craps Down Under, there's another channel that you can go check out because his content is awesome. He does a lot of dark side.
He's a dark side demon.
Yep.
He's a dark side
Yes,
demon. I love that guy. He's so good. Yeah, he's so good.
Yep. So, I think it's all about family, respect of one another. We agree to disagree, and although sometimes in your chat it does get pretty testy, but at the end of the day, debate is good. Debate is good. Just because you don't like someone's style of play doesn't mean that you can't criticize, constructive criticism to get your point across. But sometimes you and I have had to put on that white and black uniform and kind of like been the referee and say, let's calm down. Let's pick the phone up after the show and let's call people and it all work out. Hey guys, from my standpoint, this community is it's like a second family. And I met John. I've had the fortunate to meet John. I've been fortunate enough to meet Chris Dice-Dejan. The answer to me is I haven't met Dylan yet, but Dylan and I have become really good friends, and I just want to say to everybody out there watching and everybody that's on the panel here today, this show, this community, everybody's channel here is just one big family, and my heart warms to know that we can do this about every 2 weeks.
Jeff, let me jump in here real quick, just for a second.
Sure.
I wanted to say that we can turn any negative, into a positive, and what I mean is that with the arguing or whatever, we can learn from that. So we can do the collabs, working together. Still, even if we don't, we can agree to disagree in a friendly way as well, and we still all can learn. So it's a great learning experience as long as we keep the positive spin on it. And so that's one of the great benefits of all of our different craps channels is that we can do these collabs and get together and discuss stuff and test stuff out and just run the gambit, because there's nothing that can stop us at all. The sky's the limit, and we're basically in the beta testing phase right now, all of us, and I've said this before, there's a huge future goal for all of us that's going, that I see this as, like the World Series of Poker, analogy. We're in the beta testing phase, and we're just inching ourselves up higher and higher on every level, and we're in a huge growing spurt phase. So the sky's the limit, and so I can see us, like John said, I knew that that Dave and all of us, because we supported Dave, the craps community supported Dave and Casino Quest, in the very beginning of the pandemic, where they were really tanking, and the craps community itself, not any other group, but the craps community rallied behind them to support them, and that was us, and now they're returning the favor, and they've been successful and are being successful, and they're expanding, and so their business is growing in a lot of different areas, and that all just helps us. So all these rising tides float all of our ships together, and we all succeed together. So that's our craps community, and that's our family. It's all one big. It's all fantastic.
All right. Well, that's very well put. But John, he might have trumped you with that statement. Imagine that. Dylan speaks. He just doesn't sit. And well, Dylan, you know that earlier in the year you had a situation that kind of took you away from the show. John stepped up, and that's what it's about. If something was to happen to me, this show would go on. We would just continue to move on. You had a little medical emergency. You're doing well now. We're glad to see you out, and I'm actually glad to get those texts that you sent me this past week that you're actually out playing. I know it was Bubble Craps. You did like a 5-hour live Bubble Craps from one of your locals, but I love it. Guys, we're going to move on to the next question unless somebody else has something to say. It looks like we've got a question about a battle royal, John. Maybe you can help us out here. Looks like there's
Well,
when is the
I
next
think,
battle royal beginning?
I think Chris ought to or Craig rather ought to talk about that, huh?
Yeah, we could do that. Craig?
Yeah, let's have you guys talk through it. What's the plan? We know who the combatants are. We just don't know what the plan is yet.
All right, yeah. Let's go ahead. Craig, we'll give you the first word. Audio, Craig, audio.
He's too scared.
He's not
to
muted.
speak.
There you go.
He's already
Here we
see.
go.
There we go.
He's
See, it
speechless.
didn't take long.
Too scared to speak. I'm glad it's not an arm wrestling contest.
So go ahead, tell us, Craig.
This should be fun. This is was kind of brought on by the previous battle royale contestants.
What?
Yeah, y'all. Oh, please.
What?
Oh, please.
All right,
Go
Chiro,
enjoy your
you
table.
get your time in a second.
And so Chris and I really haven't spoken about what we are playing for. We're both eager to get started. I have expressed briefly one of the things I may want if I win. But once we have a discussion about it, we'll let the community know exactly what the stakes are.
All right, so Chiro, you want to chime in on that a bit?
I just was I had nothing to do with it. I just noticed that you didn't like the way DJen was tossing. It's what.
Yeah, that's right. A rumor started it all. That's great.
So Chris, where are you playing with this?
Where do I play in? I mean, round 1, win. Round 2, win. Round 3, win. Round 4, win. Round 5, win. So that's what I'll be playing. Not too, it is what it is. I know Chris and Chiro wanted to spark a little something up, so I look forward to battling my worthy opponent Craig, and it's going to be a fun time. I know Craig and I, between the two of us, have a ridiculous amount of banner, so it's going to be a good time. And in all seriousness, no, though, Craig's a good craps player, so I don't know how it's going to go. We'll find out. Hopefully, the dice will roll the way we need them to do, but. I'm looking forward. I don't know. I know Craig wants me to come build him a table in a Speedo on his lawn.
Yeah, you guys look.
Maybe that'll actually.
I teased this
happen.
earlier. You guys have got to play. You guys got to play for ink. You got to play for
Wow,
ink.
you added the
I
Speedo
want
to it. That's great.
Chris. I want Craig to get. Everybody's got a little DJ in them tattoo.
We don't put bumper stickers
Yeah?
on Ferraris, John. All right. Come on.
That's great. But you got to. But then you gotta wear like his favorite '80s hairband logo on your arm. If he beats you, you guys got to put up some skin for this thing. Seriously.
Skin.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
put up some get some ink. I'm telling you.
So it
Let
sounds
me
like
be the
they've got the
first to
next.
say, Team Craig, obey Craps. Absolutely. That's and the reason for that is
Heroes on
because
2 losing teams in a row.
I was going to say.
Ooh, touche.
Craig, whoop his ass, please.
All right. Well, I think we've got the answer to the question. It seems like there's something brewing between Craig at Old Bay Craps and the DJ and Chris at Dice DJ. Hey, Chiro, I don't know if this is the proper forum to mention, but last week on the show there, on my show, you and Vince kind of went back and forth, and I think you were serious about taking on Vince, were you not?
Absolutely. I've actually even brought it back to him again, saying that we need to get back on your channel and do it. I think Vince is a little scared.
He's in the chat.
Because his answers were kind of like, just playing it off like it's not a big deal. He was trying to be very nice, and I do appreciate that. But it seems like he was backpedaling a little bit. I would love to play Vince. I've already beat him before, so I'll beat him again.
You tell him, Chiro. Keep it going. More words.
Well, Chiro, we won't spend much time here on here, Chiro. Vince is in the chat because I just put something up from him. But about a week ago or so, they were going back and forth, and they want to do straight craps, no rule changes. They want to do a $2,000 bankroll. They wanted me to host it, and I said I would. But let's go ahead and move on. So there's a couple, a little battle royal, and then the big battle royal between Chris and Craig. Let's move on to the next question, guys. What's that?
I said, get yourselves into King of the Mountain. Get in Friday Night Fights, both of you guys. Vince and Jerry both get in there. You'll play each other.
Can we get an
That's a
update?
really good idea.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, John, can
Yes.
we get an update on the poll?
Yes.
The poll that you posted.
Yeah. So the first both polls. So the first poll was 60 to 40 in favor of us having a schedule of who's going to go live where. So maybe that involves me helping everybody kind of pick a time. People do want to know where to go. And we're 69-31 on if we had a common bankroll, we should have a giant 3-hour block where we can just kind of table hop. And I think I've talked to Chuck about having Crapsody know who's live. So within Crapsody itself, you could switch between the tables and like know who's like just an icon, so you can switch easily and not like change YouTube channels. Like if I go to Crapsody table code whatever of a group table screen, the video part of Crapsody would show that YouTube channel. So it's all tied together. I'm trying to get him like make it a cohesive experience, so you as the user aren't having to jump around like a maniac. So that's why I asked the question, because I want to give Chuck some data. Like the people want to see this, so they get to write the code for it, or hire me to write the code for it because I need the money. You know, not that I'm asking for a job, but I kind of know. Yeah.
So while we're talking about the Battle Royal, I'm going to put this up here. Cajun Craps wants to know, are we done with the all-in roll? I think the answer to that is yes. You have decided that we're not going to do that in any more Battle Royals.
Yeah.
Yes. So that takes care of that. All right, guys.
And I think we also changed. So one more rule change that we didn't like was that if somebody does go belly up, the other player gets to keep on playing. So we ended up stopping the games if somebody went bankrupt. The other player does get to keep playing the next two shooters or whatever is left in the game. I think that's going to be a thing. Although I think that the chance of going bankrupt without the all-in requirement is probably lower. But yes, you do have the chance to keep on playing, and there's no more all-in rules. So we live and learn, right? Thank you, Cheryl, for being our guinea pig.
Just another beta test.
John, I appreciate you going with the uniform that I suggested here. We're wearing the same shirt.
Yeah, right. Like. Well, mine says that I'm heckin' awesome. That's what my shirt says. What does your shirt say?
Mine's Blue Sage.
This is a.
All right, guys. Let's keep it moving. John, while you have the floor, I do have a question that's geared specifically to you. Sure. You may have already answered. It comes from Joe Ramus. He wants to know: are you going to expand your Craps Locator app to U.S. casinos, or still just in Vegas? I know that you've been dealing with that for quite some time. Can you give us an update?
Yeah, So the app is I got to redeploy it, but right now the app just has casinos that I hand entered in the list of casinos. That's why it's only Vegas. The goal is to make it nationwide. The goal actually is to make it so that it's GPS. So when you walk into a casino and say I'm here, it'll recognize where you are. That would be the goal. Make it like just an actual thing, but that takes time and effort, and I don't have either of those right now. But yeah, the plan is to expand it to make it nationwide.
All right.
For sure.
All right, guys. Yeah. We'd like to see some more questions in the chat. So if you want to ask a question, put a capital Q. I may have missed some. I got a couple of my moderators on here making sure that I'm not missing any of the questions. But if you have a capital Q, or if you want to direct something towards somebody, put their name or their initials in bold letters so I can see it, and I'll cue that up there. We're going to move on to the next question. We did the poll for support. John, did we do this? Let me put this one up. This also comes from Joe Ramus. The poll for the charity we're going to support next year. I think you said veterans earlier on the show.
We did that.
So we did that.
We did that, and the top two, out of 100% of the people, 38% wanted St. Jude's and 41% wanted PTSD or veterans. So we're basically tied. A lot of other things got like 2% of the vote. Either way, it's going to be fantastic, right? Either if it's for kids, who can't get behind that? And if it's for the vets, who can't get behind that? So I figure either way we're going to be pretty fine. I like the veteran tie-in personally. I think I've been wanting to do that for a while, and also me and Skill both had heart attacks. So the American Heart Association at some point is going to be on our target list too. I think that's a thing we should probably get into.
Hey,
Well, there's plenty of years ahead.
I ended up, for years when I worked at a big company in the jewelry industry, we worked with St. Jude's a lot. I'm only bringing this up because St. Jude is in the possibility. If you do something with St. Jude, there are representatives that will help out the entire time we're doing something.
Right.
For, I mean, they'll, whatever they do, I don't know exactly how much they'll do, but there are representatives that will help out with that.
Yeah, and St. Jude's is one of the few charities where 100% goes to the charity.
Yeah.
Like I used to do a lot of work with an outfit called Charity Water, where we basically all the donations go to building wells in underserved communities in other countries, and they had 100% of the donations went to the well projects, and really badass swag like shirts and cups and shit that paid for their salaries. So you like supported the team by doing cool stuff, and you supported the charity by doing donations. And I think St. Jude's works much the same way. I know there's veterans groups that do the same. We just got to find the right one.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for that.
All right, I'm just going to watch since we're still we circle back to that. I'm going to put this chat up here. This came from a little while ago. I hope I understand who this is I'm letting in. So be prepared here, guys. I'm going to leave Chiro up on the big screen just in case we have an issue with that. So, Sideshow said, what about having a few charities donate during the next Crapsathon? And I'm sure that, no matter what we do, since we were talking about that, I put that up there. I just need to make sure that I need to see who this is and be ready to switch the screen just in case that is somebody that's not supposed to.
It's hard. It's hard to get it all put together with the bank accounts and all that stuff. That's what makes it tough. And like having put your donations on this website that was safe to take your money with credit cards and make sure it goes all the way to the charity. That was a lot of work. That was more work than I anticipated, actually. Yeah.
All right. So we have a couple questions here. I'm going to take this one because it was geared towards me, and then we'll go on. We'll move on to the second one too. Let me see which one I'm going to put up here first. I'll save Jen's for the next one. So there's a question here from Scott, and he says, Jeff, why don't you do a Zoom play for everyone that uses Crapsody? Last night, AZ's worked hard dealing with 6 different people. AZ dealt the 6 last night, John, and it was taking too long to do the dice move in. Actually, Scott, I do sessions that are unlisted and that are for a few people. I've actually done several Crapsody sessions where it's just a couple people that are playing in me, and we're not live on YouTube for everybody to come and join in. But I do it in Discord all the time. I do it on my Discord channel. When I'm recording videos and when I'm practicing, you can go to my Discord and you can watch. Every time I'm in here doing videos and shooting videos, it's in my Discord and my video channel. But that's something good, Scott. Let's talk. Send me an email at jeff@midatlanticcraps.com or DM me in Discord and we can talk about that. Let's move on to the next one. This is probably going to be a topic we can talk about. There she is. She's in the panel and she's also here. She says, hey, Jeff, why don't we consider quarterly and semi-annual meetups? Well, we've talked about this many times, Jen, and the problem is finding the right date for everybody. Every channel is doing their own thing, and when Jeremy did what he did for DiceCon and then his meetup in Reno, and then there's a group that meets in Atlantic City, there's a group that meets in Biloxi. Look what you guys did with Ted and Michael Feldman in Kansas City that weekend. So we do have that, but I don't know, John, anybody in the panel, how would we coordinate this, and how should we go about doing something like that?
Man, that's hard. It's hard because of travel and money, right? But I think there's centers, right? There's an AC market, there's a Biloxi market, there's of course the Vegas market. Y'all come to Washington, do a meetup with me out here. I mean, and when the weather's nice, we get the horns on. There. I think you need at least 3 or 4 months of lead time to get it done, right? Because of money, flights, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, well, we do have a meetup coming up here on the East Coast, but it wasn't anything official. It was just like 6 or 7 local players and 3 or 4 Craps YouTube content providers. We just have put a date out there today. Adam G, that's on both YouTube and on Discord. Adam G asked me just before we went live tonight, is there any update on the Philly AC meetup, either at the week after Christmas or the first or second week in January? So, there's local meetups, and I think in most Discords they have that, but to coordinate it, we need somebody. Hey, Jen asked the question. John, wouldn't it be a perfect job for Jen to do? What do you think of that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, how about it, Jen? I mean, you asked the question. You're on that lawyer dime. Can you kind of like not bill us and take care of that? I know you get like what, maybe $400 an hour or something, but
I think it's up to like $900 an hour now. But yep, that's what happens when you open your mouth. Yeah, I think that'd be fun. I'd like to look into that and see about maybe at least doing like twice a year, so people who do miss DiceCon or Vegas might have some opportunity to go somewhere a little bit more local, like a Colorado meetup or some Mid-Atlantic meetup.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot to put that together. I'm actually going to have Michael Feldman or somebody else from Premier Casino Hosting on the show after the first of the year, and maybe that's probably a question better suited for then for him to come back on and talk to us and maybe set something up for us, and we all kind of agree to a consensus of a weekend. Like there's a weekend here and a weekend here, and in the middle maybe we can plan to narrow down 9 days into 2 or 3, 4 or 5 days and get that to work.
Well,
but there's meetups all over the place.
I think that's the key. I think getting them to be the kind of the driver behind it, which, say, hey, it's going to be a meetup. It's going to be May 30th, whatever, May 29th through 31st. And we got you all covered on rooms. And if they kind of drive some of that, that will help. Here's a block of rooms we have 20 people can come. Let's put the weight on them to make that happen for us. I mean, that's what they do for a living anyway, right? And, they can pull 30 degenerates into a casino for a weekend. They should fight for us a little bit. Right? That's a phone call worth having.
I spoke with Eric, and he said like a lot of our players aren't used to using their player cards, so we'll have to, we would need to just promise to use our player cards so that they can actually get some commission from our play. It doesn't take a lot of play. Literally, you need like an average bet of $25. If you play for 10 hours, then they're going to make some commission, but people just weren't using their cards enough.
Yeah.
No, yeah, sure. And I think we'll come back to that after the first year when Mike or whoever comes back on the show from Premier Casino Hosting will be there. Real quick, I'm going to put this up here from Ted, because Ted Barry does it here on the East Coast, and we all have jobs, and this is true. So scheduling can be a real pain. I've coordinated with Ted for my promotion on my channel that says, come play with us. We bring somebody into the Middle Atlantic area to play with a group of us, and it's just really tough to do that. But John, correct me if I'm wrong, in your Discord, is there a meetups room? I know I have one, but in yours, do you have a meetup?
There's not. I mean, part of the problem we have, you and I, and Jeremy, and AZ, and Texas Craps Shooters, is there's like 19 Discords, and there's 4 different meetup rooms. So I don't never know where to look. Like I told Jeremy this a long time ago. Like there's got to be some unification somewhere, because the community gets fractured when there's 19 places to look. So we need to have a place that's the meetup room, and whatever. Like I think that's we're fighting again. Like Skill said, we're in beta mode right now. We're beta testing the whole community thing. Where does that shit go? I have no idea. But we should have one place for that. One place to put the schedule of where people are playing Crapsy. Like one hub to hold all that stuff, so that people don't get frustrated with what to do and they miss stuff. Like the locator app should be located. We got to figure out that secret sauce we don't have yet. There's not a,
All right,
sorry, now I'm 3 of these in, so be careful what you ask me. That's all I'm saying.
All right, we're going to move on to the next question. Keep it moving.
Aspect is probably the best way for that you're talking about.
Say that again, Arnell.
To have, to find the players or casinos, or also, where the meetups are going to be. Because if you actually have it on your phone, I would think that's the easiest, for most people. I mean, not everybody's using Discord or Facebook or, want to check websites. And I mean, it's just all over the place. But if you have an app for it, it would be, I think that would be the best.
All right. So let's. I agree with you, Arnell. And since John's the database programmer, coder person, let's let him work with his app. And let's see where we come back. We'll come back next month when we have.
So it comes to me.
So it comes back. You and Jen, we volunteered both of you. You accepted. All those in favor say aye. All right. Motion carried.
Your mouth shut.
All right. We're going to move on to another question. Guys out there in chat land, we've got almost 70 of you watching us. Put a Q if you have a question. It doesn't matter, anything Craps related, anything for any of the panel. Come join us just like Ron did. I don't know where Ron's there. I'm going to get to you in just a second. There's also a poll up in the chat. Make sure you answer that for John. It's about Crapsody. We have another Crapsody question we're going to save for the end of the show. So let's go ahead and move on to the next question. We're into hour two of the show already. And this comes from Mike, the Bears. 85, and the first word is actually who likes. It's not how likes, but he says, who likes to walk up to an empty table, and if so, why? And I'm just going to answer it very simply, and Arnell's probably going to agree with me, because you get the dice all the time, you can shoot time after time again, and you don't have to worry about all the BS with the slow play at the table. That's my answer. Arnell, I'm going to go to you first since you were just last speaking.
Oh, that's correct. I love empty tables.
I knew that.
That's my ideal, because I mean, when I was going to casinos regularly, most of my casinos weren't 24 hours, so I actually had a plan, and I'd be there like right when they opened, and I loved it. Being on an empty table or only having one or two people else on the table, that's ideal conditions for me. I'm in and out of the casinos right away.
Oh, I would agree. All right, so let's move on. Who else on the panel likes a that's here now that likes a table? Let's tell you what. Let's carry over to Ron. Let me get before we do. I went to go to him first. Ron, if you would, I can't see you based on my screen here, but I'll put you up here like this. Ron, welcome to the show. Unmute yourself. You got to turn your microphone on, Mike, and then you'll be able to get to us and tell us a little bit about yourself. And if so, do you like to walk up to an empty table? Welcome. You're on, Ron. The floor is yours. If you're watching on YouTube, you need to watch on the Zoom channel. Okay, guys. We'll come back to Ron. Ron, can you hear me? All right, we'll go on to somebody else. Churro, how about you? Do you like to walk up to an empty table, and if so, why?
I actually do not. I am a person who I strive off the energy off the table. If I'm the only one there, then and I don't get me wrong, I have been the only one there. In fact, I've made specific trips to be there early in the morning just to try a certain strategy. But no, I prefer, especially if I'm there to have some fun, I prefer the table. I don't know about a solid, heavy, busy table, but several people on one side, several people on the other. That's my favorite way, because everyone's having a really good time. So that's just me.
All right. So Arnell and I are in the corner. There's Churro. Let's go up here right next to Arnell to Phase Dragon. If your audio's on, do you like an empty table, or do you rather have a few players at it?
Well, I'm brand new, so I can only state what happened to me like back in 1989 when I first came to Vegas. So back then, I was a heavy drinker, so it was all about the party back then. So more the merrier. But now that I'm more serious about it, I would guess probably an empty table is a lot better. More concentration. Yeah. Dealers aren't going to get distracted. They're going to help you, or they're going to pay your bets correctly and things like that. I just think it's better.
All right. How about you, Chris Dice-Dejan?
I prefer more full tables myself. I can do like less crowded tables. I don't like being the only one on the table. But I don't mind if there's a handful of people, because then things go faster. Dealers are paying things faster, get more rolls in. I don't mind that, but I'd prefer like a full table over just me on a table.
Yep.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right. Yep. All right. Let's go, Leon. Unmute yourself there. How do you like to play? Full table, empty table, half table, no table, your table, my table?
I like to play just about anything. I kind of like coming in through the casino like midday when it's kind of slow, and there's maybe one or two people on the table, and just playing real quick. Especially if I'm like on my way to go somewhere to do something else and not playing craps. Just hop on, play real quick, and get out. And it's a lot easier to do that if the table doesn't have a lot of people on it. You just walk up to any space and hop on and hop right off. I know a lot of dice influencers like an empty table, but I'm not there yet. So I think overall, I prefer playing with people. I don't like the table to be super crowded. It's just intimidating. I'm still, relatively a new player. I like to watch a full table, but I don't necessarily like to belly up to a full table. But if it's super packed and you almost can't find a spot at the rail or whatever. But overall, I think a medium. Some people, it's a social game, so there's something to be said for when people are winning in this celebration that goes on, and that's what hooks everybody into it in the first place. I think it's there's not a lot of other games except for maybe roulette where you get into that with everybody playing and everybody winning around the table, and that makes it fun. I think that's one of the big things we all like. So,
all right, let's hear from Nemo, Black Sheep. What about you? New to the game, you like all the action. Let me guess. Say that again, Nemo.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'm a mixed bag.
Okay. Nope, I got that. All right, that was a quick answer.
Nemo's a mixed bag. Surprise, surprise, right?
Yeah, well, he does like to mix it up. I have to admit that. Jen,
right?
Unmute yourself and tell me how you like to play full table. Let me guess. Jen's a party in person. She likes it to be packed around there with big guys like me, 6'4", 310, all around the table, reaching down there, spilling their drink, throwing their chips in late, making late bets. Is that how you like it, Jen?
You got it exactly right. I love when Ian's there staring at me, shouting right in my ear. I'm trying to crowd Chris all the time. That's the best.
Jen's got them pointy elbows.
I go back and forth because sometimes when it's like a full table, it just takes so long and people shoot terrible, absolutely terrible. And not that I shoot great, but I mean, it's not going to be the shortest roll ever. So I do like it. Like sometimes I'll close the casino and I'll be shooting for hours by myself, and that's nice because you get into a nice rhythm. And I can make money after like just even 3 rolls. That's plenty, right? I'll go 220 inside. I'll do 2 hits, 66, and I'm out. I'm out of the hand. It doesn't matter.
Right.
With the drunk guys at the table, that's no fun. Also, I get a lot of oh yes, little lady, you should make this bet and that bet. And it's like, please stop. But there are usually it comes from a good place. Like sometimes when they don't start with like, hey little lady, or honey, sugar pie, something like that. When they try to offer good advice, I just think of it like they're coming from a good place, and I like to listen. You never know when you pick up a skill 66 all of a sudden. You just never know. So most times I really would prefer to have 2 other people at the table or just myself.
All right, let's go up to Craig from Obey Craps. Craig. Can't hear you, Craig. Once again, hit that Yeti button. Hit the Yeti button.
There we go. You hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a mixed bag too. I like an empty table if I want to try out a new strategy. Just because with an empty table, I can go a little bit slower and it doesn't bother anybody. Plus, it builds a little camaraderie with dealers. They know what I might be doing. But I do like a full table. What we did at Harrah's when we were in Vegas, just having a slew of YouTube channelers all in a row, that was a blast. That's the kind of table. And also, I think they're before they got there, I was at a similar table, and I remember Jen came up to me, and I was trying for a 7, but the energy at the table, it was a full table. They were just loving that I just wasn't hitting a 7, and I was just hitting all the numbers that they wanted me to hit. So the energy of that was fantastic. One of the things I just can't stand is when they move it to a half table because of the amount of people, and they crowd you all into one half of the table. I hate that.
Yep, that's actually a topic that we're going to talk about, but thanks for taking away from me. But we'll get back to that. Anyway, thanks.
I love taking away topics I don't know that you're talking about.
That's fine, Craig. I wouldn't have said that to anybody. So I'm going to go to Skill before I come to John. Dial when you go and play. I know you played a lot of Bubble Craps last week, but how do you like to play? Empty, full?
Honestly, it really doesn't matter. I've got a game plan already set in mind. Got my bankroll. I've got everything in place. So whether there's a ton of people there or just myself, it doesn't matter. I'm there to have a great time. I'm disciplined. I'm there. I'm focused. I got a game plan, and it's I can adjust on the fly. So it doesn't matter to me.
All right. Well, I'm going to go to John because I know he's been spending a lot of time out there in the cold garage now that the weather's changed, playing on that table by yourself. But
Right?
but John,
Yeah.
how do you? I think you probably like. I'm going to take a guess. Let me take a guess. And the survey says you probably like the party atmosphere because Ian already gave it away.
Yeah, I like them both actually. So you know me, I have two ways to play craps, right? When I'm with a bunch of people, I don't bet a whole lot of money, and I'm hooting and hollering. I'm trying to shoot long and have a great old time. I just don't give a shit. That's literally $500 to light on fire, and I just don't care. I want to have a good time and party and get my free drinks, and that's great. When I'm by myself or when I'm out there, like one of the best times I had in Vegas was with Dr. Dan. So it was me and him, and the table we were at had two other people on it, and that was it. And so when I shoot, I like to evaluate what I'm doing, make my adjustments, and think about it. So after a good roll, you know how your racket's kind of messy? I like to get done with my roll and then kind of look at where I am, see where it's at, get things straightened up, let somebody else shoot while I play the horseman, and sort of just chill for a second, think about my next roll, and then within a couple of shooters, it's back to me. I don't want them right back because getting the dice right back, you can reinforce bad habits, and it can be kind of a mess. I think. So I'd rather have a little bit of delay, but I don't want 35 people in my way waiting for it to come back. So if it's a big crowded table and it's me and Jen and DJen and Ian and all of us having a great old time hooting and hollering, cool. I'm betting $40 a roll and I just don't care. And I think that's way fun. I would much rather watch people win money than win money in that situation. Which I know is weird, but that's just me.
I'm fixing the issue with the Zoom. They can still hear us. We just can't see them. So I'm fixing it right now.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm fixing it right now. It did something weird on me. There we go.
There they are.
All right. Well, they could hear us. They just couldn't see. We just couldn't see them. So no, I figured as much, John. If we've got a big crowd here, guys, let's get some good questions coming in because one of the questions that I was going to talk about, since Craig brought it up, was the half table thing. I play in an area where there's only one or two tables at a casino, and the casinos are spread way apart. And you get there, and there's only a half a table, and they cram. It's a 12-foot table, and they're putting 7 or 8 people around that. And that runs into the second part of the question I'm going to ask. Is when you look at the dealers that are there, and they're carrying on their own conversation. And I know we probably have dealers in the chat here, so I don't mean to offend anybody. But does the dealer chat and the distractions that they give while you're trying to strategize what you're doing and put your bets out and call bets, does that bother anybody, or is it just one friend of mine and me, I should say? I'm asking for a friend.
I love dealer chats. I love dealer. So when I was playing, when I was in Vegas and when I played with Dan, that was the day that I played with Dan. That night was the morning that Chris put out the first day of the Hoppa strategy. And I'm like, oh my God, Chris! He called me. I was at the hotel. I was actually brushing my teeth, and the phone rang. It's Chris. He's like, dude, watch my video. So I watch his video, and I'm like, I'm playing that shit tonight. And I went and played it that night. And the dealers, because it was a small, a not so busy table, I said, hey guys, you want to have some fun? And they knew that I had a YouTube channel, and they're like, oh God, here comes some YouTube professional, right? Like, no, let's just have a good time. I'm like, here's what we're gonna do. And we kind of spread the bets out on the felt for them, and said, let's have it. And they're like, that's weird. Let's try it. And we had a great time. And I know they thought I was nuts for doing it, but I bet everything I bet for them. And they're like, okay, let's see if this shit works. And it was like it totally worked. And we had a great time, and they made a bunch of money. And it didn't matter that I was doing stupid YouTube stuff because you bring them into the fold, and it's like it's cool. They may make fun of me later, but I don't really care. Like, I'm not there to make their friends. But I don't know, man. I think I'm pretty fun. Maybe I'm being too cocky, but I think I'm fun at the tables, and I think the dealers like playing with me. And it's a good time where I'm high-fiving them, and, we're giving them shit. Like, this person can't add, and that. Ask that guy what the bet payout is, because he knows what's up, But and I would do things like I'm betting only for her. Remember that, Jen? I was doing my dealer bets, like, this is only for Sue. Only she gets the tip here. We're like, that's fun. And I think you've got to do that. At a busy table, you have to do that. When you're going there to do work at 5 o'clock in the morning and it's just you, different situation. Different situation. I don't know. Dealers and me, I think we have a good time. You got to have fun.
All right, let's
And I,
go back to Ron.
Jen, I tipped the cute boys too. Yeah, the cute boys too. I did. Right.
Let's go back and try Ron one more time. Ron, your microphone looks like it's on. We welcome you to the group here. Is there something you'd like to share to the group, or maybe ask a question about some of the questions we've just talked about? I'm going to take that as a no. Okay, you're just in here for the group. No problem. We'll move on. I like that. Hey, that's the way it goes. Nemo, unmute yourself. Talk to us, buddy.
I do like to have dealer interaction every now and then, but it's more like I'm more focused in the zone in my game. That's pretty much all I am trying to do. So I also like to give myself the information
for all of you.
All right, hang on one second. Let's go back to Ron. Go ahead, Ron. You need to turn the YouTube channel off and pay attention to the Zoom connection. You're good. What did you say, Ron?
He's on a major delay.
Yeah, it is a major delay.
Give him 15 seconds for the delay, and he'll be okay.
Yeah. No, we're gonna move on. He'll get it figured out there. Who haven't I hit here on the panel yet for that question? And the other thing is, how about the half tables?
Before the interruption happened, but usually I do help out dealers whenever I have the chance, opportunity, necessary. But when it comes to like getting crammed into another table, not my thing. I just like to stay where I'm at.
Okay. Yeah, I was reading a question. Sorry about that, Nemo. Let's answer the second part of the question was what Craig brought up about half tables. Some of you don't see half tables because you play in major metropolitan areas where there's dozens of casinos and dozens of tables in each casino. Has anybody had experience with half tables?
I've never seen one. I've heard about it. I've never walked up to a half table before.
John, I will take a picture this week for you. I will take a picture this week
for you.
It
sounds awful. Yeah,
it is.
I used to like the COVID tables. I actually liked the COVID with the only 6 people and the glass. I thought that was great. I loved it.
Were you one of the ones that doodled on the glass? Did you doodle on the glass while you were playing?
S prints on the glass. Yeah, exactly. No, I never doodled on the glass.
Right,
John, it sucks because you come to the casino and you know where you want to play, what position. And they're like, sorry, we're just gonna go to a half table now, and they corral you, and it's like you totally lose where you wanted to actually shoot from. So
that would be awful. I can't imagine. That would just be like, ugh. Yeah.
It's like here's the deal. It's like Chiro. It's like you came all this way, and they're gonna put you at a half table now, and you just lost your position. What do you do?
Yeah, I mean,
half table, and it's the right side only. What do you do?
I've experienced that in any of my, even my local casinos, where sometimes there's not that many people playing, but they still have dealers on each side of the table, and you get to choose. I've never had that happen before.
No, they'll remove a dealer, and then it's just one dealer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they'll remove one of the dealers on the one of the sides.
Is that a staffing thing? Is it for staffing reasons that they do that? So in Oregon, where my son lives in Oregon, they have a casino with it's a small one. It's a 10-foot table, which is like cheating, by the way. But what they do is they don't have a stick, so they have a box and 2 actual dealers, and sometimes the box goes away, and the 2 dealers run the whole table. So the whole table's open, but there's only 2, and the prop bets are self-serve on that table. You can drop your own horn bets out there, which is freaking cool.
That's wild.
I talk about a fun place to play. Like they're like, hey, and it's a totally interactive experience down there. But yeah, without a stick person, they can get away with it without doing a half a table. I'm surprised that more places don't do that.
That's true.
Ian's right. The lip does that all the time. Yeah.
In my backyard, it's a staffing issue and it's a player issue too because the daytime, this time of the year, we're in a resort area. So it really does it does affect us. Let's move on to the next question. John pointed out that there's a question here from Not So Freeman, and let's go ahead and put this one up here. It's how do you keep track of all your bets as a beginner? All right, who wants to take the first shot at this one? Anybody? Dylan, you
Well,
look like you're in deep thought.
I could take that one. I really needed help with that in the beginning. There was several channels that I watched after I realized that bankroll management was so important. John, yours was a good one. I really like how you do yours with the Lammers. And Jeff, I watched a couple of yours talking about how you position your chips the way you do. It is
don't tell Victor.
Probably more important than dice setting or influencing, or I can't stress how important bankroll management is.
All right. Anybody else in the on the chat there want to talk about on the panel here in Zoom want to talk about that? New players.
When like I said, I'm a beginning player this year, and I don't know, it just became natural that I used my dollar chips to separate out every $100 because I was only taking between $300 and $500 each session. So just used dollar chips, and if I didn't get, they usually give you like a stack of green and red. I would just ask for five whites for a nickel, and just use the white chips to separate the hundreds, so I knew where I was at all times.
All right.
Now, was this question for rack management or keeping track of your bets where the dealers are actually putting them?
Let me take a look here. Go back and let me take a look at that question. The question read this way, Arnell. I'll put it back up here. How do you keep track of all your bets as a beginner was the question. So I guess it could be interpreted the way you worded it too.
So depending on where you're positioned at the table, the dealers, when you first hand them your money and you watch where they're putting your chips, that's going to be your spot on like each of the numbers. So always keep track of your money.
Yeah.
And know the payouts.
New person, I suggest, try it out first with just a couple bets. Don't bet everything. And then once you start getting used to it, go ahead and, bet all the numbers you want. But definitely keep track of what you put out there as far as money.
Yeah, and if you're making like field bets or something, put it in front of you. Keep your pass line in front of you, your field bet in front of your pass line. Try to make a line all the way to the dealer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What I used to do early on, guys, was this. When I first was playing, a guy showed me this trick, which was get a bunch. When you buy in, they'll want to give you a bunch of greens and reds. Get extra red chips if you're playing at the red level. And I would use the front half of my rail as my bets. So if I bet 44 inside, I would put 44 inside on the front of my rail. And so I would mirror what was on the table in my rack. And if I said, press up to 6 and 8 to $18, I would make the front of my rail look like $18 too. So I could look down at my rack and know what was out on the table, because the table can get kind of busy. And you don't know where your stuff is, and there's a lot going on. And I would often put next to my bets what my next bet was going to be. So if I knew I had to drop an extra buck or whatever, I would have next to my bets what my next thing was going to be, and be able to speak that right to the dealers, and then verify out there that what they had for me was what I saw in my rack. And that's how I knew. And if I ever looked at my rack and went, whoa, I got $110 in my front of my rack. Shit, I'm up $50. Right? Then I would know where I was, and I would pull back. And that's how I did. I used the front of my rack to mirror what's on the felt. That helps a beginning player know what's out there without trying to crane your neck around and try and look at how many red chips there are, because it's hard to see. So do that, and if you get a chance while the person's getting their dice set, verify that you're matching up. And that would actually help.
All right.
I hope that helps.
Nemo here. I pretty much do almost the same things like everybody else, but for a beginner player, I would ask the dealer where my position is, just in case. Always verify where you are, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get lost. So always double check where in your position you are in the table, and ask the dealer, where am I positioned on the place bets? And that can also help too. But in all instances, everything is there to help a player get familiarized what's going on. And John's interpretation, I do that too. I make sure I mirror the bets on the table. And lately, I did a system where it's going to be happening soon. I already had 2 people test it out so far, but that's going to be later in the phases. Once we start the new year, where I'm going to start trying to assist everybody in their content in regards to new bankroll management system. And that'll start rolling out eventually. So I'll be talking about that to everybody soon.
All right. Dylan, let's go up to you. You got like what 130 years of craps experience, something like that.
About only 30, but who's keeping track of that? But no, you have to really be vigilant. It's to the player to know. It's a player's responsibility to know and check and to re-verify and if you have any questions, the dealers are there to help you. They're not against us at all. And that's a myth. That's a myth that's completely wrong. It's a different mindset. They are there to help us. It is you have to be vigilant. And when you put your money down, watch them. Watch the dealers. Watch where they put your bets. And because there is a method to the madness, because you are assigned a specific a position on each box number. So and it correlates to where you stand around that table. And once you and not everybody knows that. And as a new player, you don't know that. So you have to be vigilant and watch, and watch where the dealer transitions your money. And so, but then I understand that with a lot of action and with rolling and stuff like that, then the dealer's not, the dealer's is multitasking, and it's his responsibility to make the game flow. And there's plenty of players there. So yeah, you can lose track. It's easy to get distracted. It's easy to just have your mind buzz into space or whatever and space out for a second, and then you go into panic mode. So that's when you go back and you verify, like Nemo was saying and John was saying, and you can verify and ask, well, is that mine, or where am I at? Where am I at? And they will point exactly and show you right where you're at, and to make you back at ease and more comfortable. So the dealers are not your enemy. The dealers are not your enemy. So you got to keep that in mind. And if you have any questions, please ask, because it's supposed to be a friendly game, and it is. So don't be intimidated. You got to speak up, but you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. That's my advice.
All right. Anybody else want to take a stab at this before we move on to the next question? Because the next question is almost on the same topic, sort of.
I have a quick comment, Jeff.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
Especially with new players and stuff, right? Like, you're going to be going to the casino. You're going to be, you might be trying a strategy you saw on YouTube. You might be trying a strategy that, you heard about or whatever. Make sure you understand the cadence of the strategy and how it works. So then you can kind of understand what you have out there on the table and also what comes next for you. So like when I was new, if I was playing like the Skill 66, for example, right? I know I have $66 on the felt. And I would actually have a pen and paper at home before I went to the casino, and I'd say, okay, any bet here would pay me 21, sorry, and I know I have to drop $1. And like I know what the bet pays me, and I know what I need to do next, and that would help me understand what I had out there. So I'd write it all down, just because like I'm a visual person, so I like to see things written out. But I would highly suggest either playing, like if you're gonna try a strategy and you want to see how it works, like play on like, I don't know, Wizard of Odds. They have like a free simulator thing. It's not going to be exact rolls like a casino roll, but work through the system that you want to play a little bit so you understand how it works out, and then like what your moves are when different things come. So one, you understand what you're doing next, but also you can make it a little bit easier on the dealers themselves too, because like if you're playing the Skill 66 and you need to drop $1, you may just say, well, press 22 inside because you hear one of us say it on a video. And it's like, well, you need to drop $1 for that 22 pressure inside. So kind of understand how the system that you're going to play works before you actually go to the casino. So one, it makes it a little bit of a better experience for you, but then also so you get more knowledgeable about like payouts and other stuff, because dealers may pay you wrong and you may need to correct them on that at certain times. So understand how the system works. You can get, a set of chips at Walmart if you want to play through them. If you just want to write things down on paper, that's what I did in the beginning. I would literally just write down everything on a piece of paper, understand how it worked, and then I felt more educated when I went to the casino to know, what system I'm playing, what's out there, and what's my next move based on whatever role is coming next.
Well, you live
You know
right
what, Chris?
I
I
have
used-
a pad of paper and pen when you guys are doing the battle.
Well, you may not, but here's the thing. So Chris, I used to.
I'll chime in.
I used to fight with it in my head, right? I used to have it all in my head memorized, but honestly, having chips at home and having the bets out there, and every time you roll the dice, you take all the chips down when you lose, you put them all back up again, and feel the chips leaving your rack and doing the thing. Dude, that's so critical to know exactly what you expect to get back in your hand. Oh, I got 3 reds back. Cool. And they go where they go. You have to feel that coming. So when the dealer does it wrong to the next question, hey, wait a minute. I expected 3 and 3 here. What happened to my, and that's an important piece. So use the actual chips and always don't shortcut it. Like take all your money when you lose, pay the money right when you win, and then make your adjustment back to the dealer and say it out loud. Like say what you're saying. 22 inside pressure, please. Drop the buck. And make sure you say the words to yourself as though there was a dealer there. You can't practice like you play.
Yep.
Right? Critical.
Leon, I'm coming to you, Leon. Yeah. Chris, did you want to finish up there? Hold on one second, Leon. Go ahead, Chris. Anything further?
I just wanted to say one other thing, too. Like with the chips, right? You don't need a felt or something. Take index cards, right? And literally write the box numbers on an index card and go 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, right? And if you want to do some other kind of bit in there, Craig, you're gonna see how the mind works. Don't worry.
I thought about the swoosh jits at second place.
All right, listen, you're trying to frustrate me mid-thought, and it just doesn't work. I block out the haters, all right? Anyway, back to my index card point, all right? You put it, like, you don't need a felt to do this, right? You write the numbers on an index card. Jen put it in chat. I had paper lay lammers and buy lammers and stuff for a while just because I was lazy and I ordered stuff and didn't come, but that's beside the point, right? Index cards and a couple chips can be your best friend in learning how to actually make these things work, and you don't need a felt and you don't need a million chips. So any little set from Walmart and then a couple index cards, and you can like virtually make a table for yourself right there, and you can really go through, like John's saying, right? Take the bets, take them away, place them back out there, say out loud what is next, and then it'll help you work through things.
I just want to, Leon, you said Leon was going to go next. Go ahead, Leon.
Oh, go ahead. You respond directly to his because I have a little list of things.
Yeah, I just was going to say, when I came back from Vegas that February and got so excited because I played craps for the first time, and I was like, all right, how do I do this at home? Well, almost everybody has a poker chip set. So I took the poker chip set. I set the case up as the back wall. I used playing cards to do the box numbers, and I set it up the same way you would see it, like a whole field, pass line, don't pass. And if I did all the don't pass and dark stuff in blue playing cards and all the red playing cards as pass line, combat, and hard ways and all that kind of stuff. And you just, the queen was the 12 and the jack was the 11, and just set it up that way. And I did that for 2 months before I was like, maybe I should just spend the $15 to get the layout. But yeah, you can do anything. Chris already said you can use index cards, you can use Post-its. It doesn't matter.
Right. Well, I think for all these new generation, they're all about the apps. So there's plenty of apps out there.
Which works fine if you're playing bubble craps, but if you're going to play on a real table, you play with real chips. And the closest thing you can get to real chips is like he was saying, the chips you buy at Walmart or the chips that most everybody has. Walmart, by the way, has been the cheapest, most consistent that I've been able to find. And I think Cardinal Classics sells that same set in a bigger set. So you can start off with just a little small box and buy a couple of those to get you started. And then when you're ready to scale up, go to the bigger one from Cardinal Classics, which interestingly enough, Target has the bigger set. They have a bigger set than Walmart has. And you really need to handle chips. You need to handle chips, and you need to get away from the racks that they come in. You need to maybe spend a little money and go online and buy the wood racks. There's like only one place to get them. Quick search will find it for you. But you need to buy a wood rack or make a wood rack if you're handy with tools and stuff like that, because you need that rail. You need the rail. You really need the rail to manage it, because all of the watching videos and stuff doesn't really do you much good if you don't have the dexterity of handling stuff with a rail in front of you, like you will in a casino. As far as like beginners, keep it simple. Keep it simple. You don't need to be trying crazy strategies that you've seen on YouTube. If you don't understand them in the first place, keep it simple. Stick with some of Jeremy's probably beginning videos for beginners, made that way. Keep it simple and scale up from there until you really understand what's going on. Get a layout. It's important. If you can't afford a layout, then print one. If you can't print one, then draw one. Pull up YouTube,
Exactly.
freeze the screen, or pull up an image online and draw one. And you'll be amazed at how well just drawing the layout helps you learn what the hell all the bets are and where they are and what they mean. It really like ingrained it in your head what the layout entails and everything. And one of the pieces of advice I give to all my friends who think I'm crazy for playing craps, which is unheard of in this community of people, right? But one of the best pieces of advice is I think I give all my friends who are, hey, I'm going to Biloxi next weekend, or I'm going to Vegas next weekend. I want to go play craps, and I know you know how to play. What's your advice for what should I do? And I say, well, you don't have enough time to go down the YouTube rabbit hole, but the best place you can stand at the casino is right there in that hook next to the dealer. It's the last slot. Most people don't like standing there because the table's backwards, everything's kind of upside down, but the dealer is right next to you. This spot here is good, except everybody likes to shoot from this spot, so you're gonna piss off all the people who think they're influencing the dice. Maybe they are. But this one's good because the stick man is right here and he can give you advice as well, but you're going to piss off all the people who want to throw the dice from this spot. Nobody likes that spot over there. So you want to stand there, and you can talk to the dealer, and the dealers are really good at walking you through. I haven't met many dealers who don't like a new player. Most of them are willing to explain, and it's a thing of beauty to me to watch a good dealer walk a brand new player through the game from like get-go. Like, I don't know anything, teach me this game, and to watch them scale it up from 0 to, I might win some money, and now I'm hooked. The next thing you know, I'm on YouTube and so on. So, but those are the kind of laundry list of things that I have. Keep it simple, know where to stand, and really, you need to handle chips. You need to handle chips.
All right.
I like that idea. I like that idea of that. You're hands-on. Get a notebook. If you don't have, without the apps or whatever, then if you want to get a notebook, that way you can draw on the paper and create your own layout and draw it. And then you've got to physically practice. And then the one key is that you're missing is that slight thing is that you need to practice every single variable. If this, what happens next? And so you have to know the system inside and out, whatever you're wanting to do. If it's a skill 66, whatever, then you've got to know what happens and what you're required to do on every single thing. If a 7 comes, if a 6 comes, if an 8 comes, if a 5 comes, if a 3 comes, whatever. You've got to go through every single scenario on every single round and know it. And you've got to practice it and practice it and practice it until it becomes second nature to you. And then you'll be comfortable. And so then it's not scary. You're taking the fear factor out. You're getting more comfortable, and you're getting comfortable with the game. And so it's just practice, hands on, be physical with the chips, And like you said, like John said, saying the verbiage out loud. That way, you're hitting all fronts. You're hitting all fronts, and you're clicking on all cylinders. And that's the best. That's the best way to do it. Is you got to think, if this happens, then what? What am I going to do? Because it's the player's responsibility to know what you're going to do when any of those scenarios come up, because they will come up. You can't.
It's being intentional and not being random. That's what it's all about. You got to be intentional. Right. That's the whole thing. Everything has to be like this. Otherwise, you take shortcuts at home, you'll forget the long cuts at the casino. That's a problem for a new player, right? For sure.
And that's why writing things out is good, or like doing it on pen and paper almost, or with chips in front of you, because you can do it on an app, but the app pays you out, right? And you're not getting that full kind of grasp on it. So that's why I prefer the old school way when you're kind of learning, because you're writing things out, you have the chips in front of you. You're not just, oh, well, I guess, now I won money here, so what do I do now? Like, if you actually have it in front of you, it reinforces what you should be doing.
Exactly.
Well, what's hard, Chris, is like, you got to do all. So here's the thing. So like in the morning, on that morning show I do, we always look at the total bankroll, right? We're in Crapsody. Crapsody tells you your bets plus your rail is your total bankroll. And you kind of cheat a little bit. Say, I made my $500 and I'm out. In real life, it's hard to do that. It's hard to know I've got $4,600 in my rack. I got $750 out there, and you got to do the quick math. Go, okay, I'm up by $310. I'm out. Like, that's hard to do. See, I think real chips, there's no substitute for real chips. You have to do it. Get used to counting with all the math. It's hard, but for the beginning player, how much money have you lost in your life, guys, by not doing that? By not knowing what's actually out there on the felt and getting burnt by it? How many times you've been up and not known it?
Yep.
And lost.
And put the payout on like the piece of
thousands of dollars I've lost in my life. Yeah.
Put the payouts on there. Make it easy for yourself. Put them on there. One to help you learn the payouts, and then also you don't have to be like, oh, what does this pay? Well, it's like, all right, the 5 pays 6. So you're sitting there, and you're like, or 6 pays 7. So you're sitting there, 6 pays 7.
See what I mean?
And that creates a tighter love for the game. It creates a real tighter love for the game.
I'm going to pause real quick.
Let me, we kind of got off keel there just 1 second from how we do things from a beginner standpoint and learning it. And I wanted to put this up here that Brian P. said. It's a source for new players to buy some reasonable stuff at a reasonable price. And it's a 7-out wood. It's actually on Estes. It's on the Estes network.
Etsy.
It's the guy's name is, The guy's name is, I believe it's Don, I believe. I think that's his name. Because that's where I bought my stuff. That's where John got some of his stuff. The table behind John, that throwing station there, that's where he got his from. So go to Estes and go to, look for 7 wood out NC. NC stands for North Carolina. There's some good stuff there. I also want to tell Analyzer Fields, you're in. You need to turn your audio on. You're here. Guys, we are approaching the 2nd hour of the season finale. And as you know, this show has gone over 3 hours before. We're going to be going into an overtime series that you'll be able to join us in chat in Zoom. We're going to the after show. We've got some more questions that are coming out here. It seems to always happen the later we get in the evening on the East Coast, or later it gets on the West Coast, and we start getting people to show up. So with that said, on that topic of beginners, dealer payout, because there was a question here that I wanted to hit here. This one right here is a good one. We've talked about it before, but it seems to come up all the time. How do you handle it when a dealer pays you wrong? So, Dylan, you had the floor. Go ahead and take that, and we'll circle back around.
Well, the best thing to do is, if you know that dealer has paid you wrong, do not touch that money. You can point it out and say, hey, are you sure? You can put, or what have you, but don't reach down and grab whatever change or whatever the incorrect payment was. Don't touch it, because it'll make the game more complicated, because they'll have to roll back the cameras, and it's going to be time consuming. It's a nightmare. So don't ever, if you're in question about it, don't touch it, you can talk to the dealer audibly and or the box person, because they're there to clarify and to help you, and they will reiterate, and they'll say, well, this is what your bet is, and this is what it paid, and in comparison to some of your other bets, because on an iron cross, your field will lose, but your place 6 or 8 will win. But there is a different there. But your field bet pays will cut into your place bets winnings, so you won't get the full payout of what you might be expecting. So if there's a question about it, don't touch that money. Just ask and talk. And that's the best advice I can give on that.
Well, that actually happened to me today, Dylan. We were playing, and one time I was wrong, the other time the dealer paid wrong. And I think what we're seeing is in the rural areas, we're seeing inexperienced dealers, and it's not necessarily, it is their fault, but they don't know. We need to rely on experienced box people to make sure that when we question that they are actually, making the right bets. But Dylan, you said the best thing is not touch it. I've picked it up before a lot of times and kind of cupped it in my hand and looked at it, and then all of a sudden I put it back down and say, you paid me wrong, and they kind of look at you like, what's going on with that. So that's true. Anybody else want to chime in on dealer paying wrong?
Yeah, when there's a good crew, it's pretty awesome, because it's a stick person's job to keep the dealers right. And I've had plenty of instances where, maybe I didn't get paid right, and the stick person just puts their stick down and says, "Hey, 18 goes to this guy," or whatever the payment's supposed to be. And they've been really good about that. So when you get a good crew, and a lot of times I shoot next to the stick person, and you start to chat, and that's one of the great things about this game, is that when you get close enough to where you can start chatting with a stick or the dealer, it makes it a lot easier if something like that does happen. But yeah.
All right. Anybody else? Wrong bets. Arnell, I know you've been paid wrong a couple times.
Yeah.
Hang on, Churro.
You definitely have to bring it up right away, because it sucks if you have to bring it up after the fact and they have to look at the cameras, then you're wasting everybody's time.
Exactly.
So definitely bring it up right away. Unfortunately, it does happen. Usually after that, I'll say turn my bets off because they're taking too long. But
I'm with you on that.
It does happen. It does happen. Just because you basically ice the shooter. When stuff like that happens.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's part of the game. Everyone's human. Like you said, not all the dealers are all on top of it. So, but they all have to start somewhere. So you have to give it to them. They're working hard and stuff like that for us. So, you just got to be patient, pretty much, and just go with the flow of the game.
All right, Churro.
You basically ice the shooter, when stuff like that happens.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's part of the game. Everyone's human, like you said.
All right, I think that was Ron chiming in there with us. Churro, you had a comment on that?
Well, yeah, I think the first thing that I guess my issue mainly is you got to recognize that they paid you wrong. The easy bets are easy, but when you start getting into the pressing and getting into bets that you're not 100% familiar with or have been playing that often, those are the ones that you need to really recognize and know what the payout is if you win. So recognizing that they paid you wrong is going to be your main thing. You got to know the bets. You got to know the payouts.
Yep. And Dice Emotion puts something up here in the form of a question, but it goes along with what we're saying here. He talks about having a dealer actually pay his bets, but pay the wrong person next to him. And I've seen that done before. And some players aren't as honest as others, and they'll scoop the bet up because it's in front of them. And next thing you know, like Arnell says, they've stopped. They got to sort things out. Turn my bets off. In my place, I can't grab my chips to go to another table because my locals typically only have one table going at any given time, unless I travel to Philly or AC from where I am. Anybody else want to comment on anything to do with dealers, bets, and paying wrong? And we're not not picking on dealers by no means, because players make mistakes too. They question some payouts, and a lot of times the dealer's right and the player's wrong. So I'm not picking on dealers at all. Yes, especially on my show. That is correct. Bad dealer. Thank you, Chris.
Chime
Bad
in
dealer.
real quick. I think because there was a follow-up question on like if the dealer pays the wrong player, so like not necessarily the wrong amount, but the wrong player. You take that up with the
box.
with the dealer, right? Whoever the box man, the dealer. You don't take it up with the player who is next to you. And don't reach in front of them and grab their chips. You want to, point it out to the dealer or the boxman or whoever, and then let them go through their head and be like, oh yeah, that should be yours. And then they'll move the chips in front of you. You don't want to take the chips in front of somebody else's rack. If they're pushed to somebody else, just point it out and they should push it in front of you. Don't take from somebody else's rack or in front of them. So just be mindful of that. And you can always point it out, and hopefully the player next to you will be honest, but, sometimes they're not. So.
To Duracel's question, no, I wasn't. And FaZe Dragon, you wanted to answer this question? You said you had a point that you'd like to make?
Yeah, but it's not really related to craps. It was more of my own 2 cents about how people
go ahead.
The
floor is yours.
So I'm a sports bettor. I work in sportsbook. And for baseball season, for instance, a player can list a pitcher on a bet, and it's automatically listed for a total and for a run line. So when it comes to paying the bet, if the game only goes 5.5 innings, for instance, the run line and total are refunded. Or if the player that's scheduled to start as the pitcher doesn't start, then you get an adjusted price on the player that does pitch if they choose not to list the pitcher. If they're playing money line and not listing the pitcher, they get the adjusted price. And that causes all kinds of arguments at the time that you're paying out their tickets because they just don't understand the rules. And I've had that same argument with people, I don't know, at least 100 times, trying to teach them how to make a bet properly, understand that if they're listing the pitches or if they're betting totals or run lines, the pitcher's automatically listed, and those are the rules that are going to happen. And most casinos don't actually list those rules for people to see. So it's an argument that I'm constantly dealing with all the time.
Nope,
I know it's not related to craps, but it's
I
probably
understand that.
Similar for a craps dealer. They have to keep constantly dealing with the same things over and over.
Well, I can say it to Brian's question from Hawaii Crap Shooters. He says, how many people actually give a bet back today? Today, Clay, East Coast, and I were playing at one of our locals, and they didn't swipe the field bet, and I could have just left it there and let their next dice roll. I actually took the field bet and pushed it into the cum. I said, the field fell. It was a 5. It was no field 5. And they picked it up, and the box guy kind of looked at the dealer and kind of rolled his eyes. But, I think, being honest, it's good for the game. And have I taken an overpayment and not given it back? Yeah, but that's because by the time I realized I got overpaid, the dice are already out and they're throwing. And what are you going to do? Put $6 down back on the table or whatever?
I think that falls into the category of NFL replay happening after the ball is snapped, right? You know what I mean? Like if you get the snap off before the next play, they don't do a replay. I think. You're right, Jeff. I've done that before too. Where I've taken a payment and go, oh wait a minute, I got 30 extra bucks here, and then the dice are out. Well, it's too late now. That's kind of a screw up. But most people, I think, put the money back, right? Most people will do what you did, push the field back up or whatever. The key is what Steele said, and we're winding all the way back to comment number 1. Don't touch your money if it's wrong. You touch the money, you sour the soup, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is go to the box. The box is the boss. They have the ultimate. The box can call for the camera. The dealer cannot. So in a mistake, if it's a $3 mistake, it doesn't matter, right? But the box is the boss. Make sure you hit the timeout button, go to the box, miss payment here, they'll fix it always.
All right, yeah, let me handle
it. If you're cool about it, that's the thing. So don't forget all the other comments are great, but Skill had it right to start with.
Yeah, and today I actually felt that a payment was supposed to have been made because I went 66 inside. They didn't put the 6 up. The point was 6. The dealer honestly thought I had a line bet and I didn't, and I thought I was supposed to get paid on it. Clay's over there hit me on my shoulder telling me to shut up. The point just came out. You're not owed the money. But so it goes both ways. And I think the question, I already passed it from Ted Berry, that says give it back, respect and karma goes along the way. I believe that is true. Let me see if I can correct this tech issue with Analyzer Fields. Analyzer, your audio is on. Whatever device you are using is not pushing it to us in the Zoom. So your audio is on, but it's not. So it's on your side. Everybody else up here, like I can look at Arnell and Leon and Chris and Jen and tell that their audio is off. Everybody else's audio is on. So you need to fix it on your end. What I would suggest you do is take a look at what you're doing on your end. Make sure if you're using headsets or a microphone or whatever, if you're on a computer, you're going to need headsets. If you're on a phone or a tablet, you won't need headsets. Maybe disconnect and reconnect. But you're here. You're in the Zoom. You should be able to hear us. We just can't hear you. So let me see, guys. We're in the hour 2. The time just flies by here. I'm going to go back, and we're going to stay on this question. This goes back almost 30 minutes ago. Chris has probably fallen asleep by now, but Chris over at Sideshow says, what's everybody's favorite bet or process of bets for dealers? And I assume maybe he's talking maybe like calling it out, or I'm not exactly sure. Somebody interpret that question for me.
Just tips in general. How do you tip your dealers?
Yeah.
Basically,
okay. Is that tips? What's everybody's favorite? Oh yeah, because when Chris and I were in at Blackhawk, we were fortunate to be there for a 51 roller, and Chris had them up inside $6 across, and he would when the guy was nailing the inside numbers, and he was just saying, take one, press one, or keep one, take one. And at one point he had $12 on the 8. That's how many times that the 8 had gotten hit. But somebody else want to talk about that? That's not how I interpreted that question, but you know me, it's getting late in the evening. I'm old, no hair, you know how it goes. Somebody else go ahead, chime in on what you think what Chris meant. Let me put it back up there.
My favorite thing I've always done is before I even put my very first bet out, the moment I walk up to the table is I do $6 across for the dealers on the box numbers under player control. So that way I can actually get them to make more money. As soon as I say that, I got all the dealers on my side immediately.
Exactly.
And then if you do it a few more times, they know that it just wasn't a one-shot pony, and that they really are. They're all for you at that moment.
All right.
Yeah, we definitely agree. I always love player control, and always if I'm playing the fire bet or bonus bets, ATS, I always put them on all of those also.
All right.
Just to get, like you said, on your side, but yeah. I like making the bets for them that way to basically tip them.
Yep. I like what Greg says here, and I've put up a couple of his comments here many times. That I've actually done that because the stick man will go, there's a $30 don't, and I said, and I type $1 next to it, and I said, and the dealers are on the don't. I say it loud enough because if they're going to point me out because I'm playing a don't when everybody else is playing light side, I want them to know that the dealers are on the don't too. And Greg, welcome. It's good to see
I would
you, my
pull their
friend.
bet.
Yep.
I pull their bet in that case. If they call me out like that, their money comes down on that deal.
Well,
but
I think
normally,
I think in some casinos it's to alert the boxman there's a don't bet out. I don't know that, John.
It's still bullshit. That's still
Can
shitty.
I ask a follow-up question to that, Jeff?
Yeah, hang on one second, Greg.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, no, well, hold on one second. I just want to say this to Greg. I'm glad to see you out. I'm glad to see you in the audience, Greg. I'm glad to see that you've gone live a couple times. I know your channel is small, but I enjoyed everything that's gone out there. And John will tell you, and Chris will tell you, every time you've gone live, I push text messages out to them so everybody knows that you're live. Greg, I hope you're well, and I'm glad to see you. Okay, Craig, go ahead. The floor is yours.
I just wanted to say, what would you do with the opposite? So, let's say you're normally you're tipping, and then the dealer's rude. Do you tip them when you leave, when you color up?
Well, I could speak for the guy that I play with quite often, and I tip irregardless because it's not all the dealers. It's that one dealer. But I have before in Atlantic City with Ted, Clay, Anthony, K9 Comp, Wesley from North Florida Dice. Just two weeks ago, I had a nasty dealer, and I couldn't take the contract tip down. But I said, I'm not bet. I said it loud enough. I said I'm not tipping anymore until the dealer switch. And I took it down, and it was the right thing to do. I was probably an ass on myself, but that's what I did, Craig. I don't like rude dealers. I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it. I'll tell you that I'm wrong. But I've taken tips down for the dealer.
So Jen will back me up on this. This actually happened at Harrah's. That same roll that I was trying to hit sevens, but kept hitting box numbers for everybody, and the crowd was going nuts. At one point, just as a joke, because y'all know I joke, I said, "Hey, tips for the shooters, welcome." And the dealer across from me said, "You should be ashamed of yourself. That's embarrassing."
Really?
And I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I'm just kidding.
Wow.
They don't care. Nobody's going to do anything like that. I said, I'm just throwing and they're having fun. And he just repeated himself that it was disrespectful and stuff. So now,
Wow.
I did tip him at the end when I colored up, and I'll tell you why. I tipped him $4 because to me, $4 is go fuck yourself. That's my go fuck yourself tip. It's personal.
All right. 2 F words for the first time tonight in 8 seconds.
Hey now.
That's all right.
There'll be more during the battle royal. Come on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's all right. Go ahead, Craig. Finish up.
That dealer was the worst. And, Craig was super classy, but I actually was very vocal. And, I gave the dealer a look, like a really staunch, my lawyer look, right, for the jury type of look. And, I said very loudly that was uncalled for. And I said, you don't need to tip this dealer. We don't even need to play here. Let's go somewhere where the dealers are professional. And, Craig then colored up and then, gave him $4, which is more than he deserved. There was, no reason for him to be so rude. But he kept saying, that's disgraceful. And it's clearly a joke. I mean, Craig had thrown, a dozen 6s and 8s to the table at that point. And, people are tipping the dealers. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But then I almost complained to the pit boss, but I wasn't playing. I was just over his shoulder coaching him. But I wanted to make sure it was loud enough that the pit and others could understand that, we're leaving because the dealer was so unprofessional.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
unfortunately, all this means nothing because we live in a socialist world of dealers where they all share tips, and you can get pissed off at one guy and hold back their tips, and they all still share it at the end. So it doesn't do anything but make you feel better to not tip that one asshole. So you got to use your money the way you want to use it. And if you want to stop tipping, but they're still sharing money at the end. And it's unfortunate that that's where it ends up, but that's where it ends up.
Yeah, but Jen.
So I like to make an ass of myself. I like Craig.
No,
I like Craig. I'm like, okay, fuck you all. Here's $1 in the field for dealers.
They'll still get their cut.
All right, one at a time. Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
Yeah.
Finish up.
Exactly.
Sorry.
No, I mean, I get what John says, and it's fine. You're not tipping the guy specifically, but you can go to another table at Harrah's where, they're good dealers, and everyone will still share the tip. But you have to make a stance at some point. And yes, John, we know how you feel about socialists.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, pull your bets down. So here's the thing. I would say dealer bets down. Right? So everybody knows that I just called that guy out. Now, it doesn't matter because he's still going to get his cut of the tips, but the rest of his crew would know that guy's a jerk. And maybe he cost them potentially $8 in tips later on. It's worth calling it out and pulling your bets down, but ultimately the effect is a social effect. It's not a monetary effect. You're not hurting his wallet at all. You're hoping that his crew gives him shit later on. But honestly, what's going to happen? They're all going to go back there on their break and say what an asshole you are. That's what's going to happen, right? In reality. So what you do there makes you feel better, and that's how I look at it. Like it's and I say I give the FU tip for me. Buck in the field, and it hurts me for $1. They get nothing out of it, and then and it's I don't know.
Nope. Nope.
That's not a good answer, but that's that's what ends up happening.
All right, guys. Before
Soup
we move
Nazi.
on to
There you go, Craig.
before we move on to
for you.
oh yeah, let me put that one up there. I'll put that one up there for you. Yep. There's Greg. Greg and his sands. There we go. No soup for you, no tip for you. Another Seinfeld episode. All right, guys, let me get your attention. In the chat and at home, including everybody here on the panel, this is a surprise. The only buddy that knew we were going to do this was John, is that we're actually going to give something away today, being our season finale. So I wanted to do it right at the 11 o'clock hour on the 2-hour time limit and kind of wrap this up within 3 hours. So we go into the after show, the post show. I have in my hand right here a set of Craps Nation dice that have never been touched. They're 775s. I can't really show you in there. What we're going to do is we're going to give them away on the show tonight, guys. Let's see if I can get them up here. Let's see how this is going to work. I don't know that this is going to work, but they're Craps Nation dice, still in the sleeve. I just took it apart. Serial number 0081. 0081, Craps Nation dice, so I'm going to give them away. How are we going to give them away, you ask, Jeff? Well, it's a good question. In the chat, all you have to do is type the word winner, not winter, winner, WINNER, and hopefully everything works out. We're going to give this set of dice away. You'll need to send me an email or a DM on the Dice Square. What'd you say? What did I say wrong there, John?
Brian P typed in T-shirt.
A T-shirt, yeah.
From your regular shows. That's
yeah. I've given away a few T-shirts this past week because I got boxes. I ordered T-shirts and I got a double order of T-shirts. So I got boxes of T-shirts here in the house. I'm like, wow! I come home one day and
That's
man,
funny.
Christmas came early, but
So
they
there
doubled
shouldn't
the
be one
order.
reason
Like,
you can't send me one. Okay.
Craig, just hang on. I told you. I've talked to your wife. You're going to get a Fruit of the Loom white T-shirt for Christmas. Just hang in there. You're going to get a T-shirt. So what you want to do, guys, is head to the chat and start typing winner. W-I, not whiner. Okay, JR, you put whiner in there. We're not drinking any wine and nobody's whining.
Or wiener.
But that's
Don't
a
put
good one, though, JR. Winner. You got it. Capital letters, lowercase, doesn't matter. WINNER. At the end of the show, we're going to give this set of the Craps Nation dice, and my hands have been the only one to touch it. This comes from Craps Nation. The keeper of the dice is a guy by the name of Sleepy2525. He's over on the Craps Nation side. He's the one that gets the dice. You can't get these anymore because the company, John, what's the name of the company, is not Midwest Gaming, is not doing them anymore for us. So this could be a collector's item. Never touched 0081. Here's a prize for you going out tonight before we end the show and we go into the post show. All right, everybody, seems like we're getting a lot of winners in there. You guys on the panel, make sure you type winner in there. Everybody but Craig's eligible.
All right. Put wiener or you'll get a free subscription to Ian's channel.
We already have enough wiener in here tonight.
All right, let me go over to a question here that was asked a little while ago. I think they kind of go together between Dan DVD over an hour ago and also Dice Emotion. Looks like I want to see which one of these questions is. We've talked about this real quick. And let's just go around the room real quick and hit this one. Dan DVD wants to know what's the longest time spent at the table. I think he says his is 8 hours. I have spent more than 8 hours, although taking a bathroom break and slipping away to stretch my legs. I have. But who wants to go first on this? Longest time at the table. I believe Arnell told us one time it was 12 hours. Or was that somebody else, Arnell?
Yeah, I've spent my time at the tables pretty long. I've probably done a 12-hour session.
Wow.
I've got longer than that.
You're a lightweight, Churro. What's your longest one, Churro?
I think I've done about a 6-hour one, and it was kind of funny because I got to my local casino, played 6 hours, and I looked at the time and I'm like, oh crap, I've got to go. And so I literally played the entire time.
Your wife said that it took you 6 hours to record one of the Here's the Deal videos. Is that true? No?
That's what I tell her, yeah.
All right, Leon, what's the longest time you spent at the tables?
Oh, about 5.5 hours on Stadium Craps at what's the first place that has it? Planet Hollywood.
Planet Hollywood, yeah.
All right, no.
In Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on. Let's move on. Chris Dice Dejan. The two-part question. The longest time with...
That was a long time.
That comeback was epic.
Non-crash with the cure. I think at a single table with like just leaving for like a bathroom break, it might have been 7 hours. Longest time at a casino was like 26 hours between craps and sportsbook.
You Dejan. Did you sleep during
Yeah.
the sports book? Did you sleep in the
No,
sports book?
I didn't sleep at all.
All right. Craig, how about you?
I've not been fortunate enough to to
20
be at
minutes?
a table longer than a few hours.
Okay. No. Well, when you and I meet, we'll be there for a couple hours.
But the
I can-
shortest
I can
time
t-
I've ever been at a table was 27 minutes.
That's usually long for you, huh?
Yeah, went in, bought in, lost it all.
Oh my goodness. Analyzer, if you have your microphone fixed, I still don't have your audio. If you can chime in on how long you've been there, that would be great. Jen, what's your longest time at the casino? And this ought to be a good one.
I know this one.
You're muted.
Oh, you're muted.
I don't have your audio, Jen.
Oh, so sorry. Just talking to myself. Longest time, probably 12 hours, but I can do it all night.
Oh, I knew something like that was coming. Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Why did I even ask? All right. Let's see. Ron, do you want to if you're not going to talk, you want to hold up on a hand how many hours that you've actually spent there? If you want to unmute yourself, tell us how long you've spent. A little delay here, and a 1 and a 2. And let's move up. Phase Dragon, I know you said you played back in the day. Or what is the longest time you spent at a craps table?
It's hard to say because I was drunk pretty much the whole time. So, and I was only doing what the dealers told me to do. So I had no idea.
I love that
what I was
answer.
doing, really. I just knew that I got home and counted my money later, and I had $8,000. So, but I'd say it probably was at least 6 hours. I'm sure.
Did I miss anybody in the chat there? Did I miss anybody in the Zoom side of it? I'm going to save dialing for last. John, you.
Jeez, I've done 36 hours in a casino before, but not all at the craps table. I think my longest craps, actual one table crap session is probably 6 to 8 hours.
Okay. Yep. All right.
That's a miracle.
Okay.
You could stay at one table for 8 hours. That's a miracle. A lot of you guys are talking about this. That's a lot. I mean, you got to, yeah.
I see it a lot locally here, John. I see people day in and day out. I'll get there at 11, go and run some errands, come back and meet a friend there at 6, and the same people are at the table. Now, whether they were there the whole time, it's just amazing. Here's one from Ted.
They're playing past line with odds and making no money. That's why they're playing past line with odds and making. They're losing $1 an hour and they're doing their thing, right?
Look at that. Ted Berry said they had a private table in Kansas
That might
City.
be Jameson talking. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Ted says that they had a private table in Kansas City for 36 hours, and he was on it for 30 hours. And I believe Ted, he probably was. That's how he got to that. Yeah. He got to the level above the level of the best card you can get that day. Analyzer Field says 12 hours. Now all you got to do is unmute yourself, Analyzer Field, and I think we'll have your audio. We'll have that audio. All right, guys. Let's see what else do we have here in the form of a question. Let's see what this one. Dice Emotion. This was the next question I was going to put up. Do you bet different when you're with shooters tend to have long rolls? I would say the answer is yes. I bet different on the people that I've played with before and/or that I've observed at the table a time or two around. So my answer would be yes. What I play may be too long for me to explain now. Anybody else want to take a shot at this one?
Yeah, definitely play different when I'm by myself, and then when I'm meeting up with people. It's definitely a different. Your mindset's different because you want to hang out and stuff like that. But I do try to bet on them if it's the first time meeting. You guys and stuff like that at the casino. I still want to bet on everybody. I usually bet on everybody to at least give them a chance to see how they're all shooting. But definitely if they're shooting good and I know that they're shooters, then I'm pressing my bets. I'm going to the moon is the way I like to play.
All right. Anybody else?
I'm of the rule of never letting a shooter burn you twice. So I do like to qualify a shooter if you believe in that. I like to, see how they're betting. I like to look at their chip rack and see what's going on there, and that does give me a lot of information. But as we've all experienced, even doing that, you can get burned. So,
All right. Anybody else want to take a shot?
I will the next time I play with Ian. I will change to 4 and 10.
All right. Anybody else want to take a shot at that question? Nope. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, I'm gonna chime in here and put my little 2 cents in. If I'm at a table and I know that George from CY is shooting, you bet I'm changing my betting strategy. I'd be a fool not to. I mean, I know, and you can tell if you go around, and it doesn't have to apply to George from CY, but even at your local hangout, you can tell in time, if you've been there long enough, that who's setting the when they set the dice and they shoot. If you got a really a halfway decent shooter that's trying to set the dice and be a dice influencer, then and they're doing it, and you can tell. You can tell. You can pay attention and then go. After the dice pass around and you make a mental note. So when he's back up the bat, let's try. Then we can go for it a little bit. Don't go insane, but you can increase. You can step up your game a little. I'm sorry.
We can hear you.
No, that was Analyzer Field trying to get the mic fixed. I fixed it. Go ahead. We'll go back to him. Go ahead and finish up, Seal.
Yeah, so you can pick and choose your poison, but you got to be careful. And as long as they're, they met my qualifications, and I see that they're actually striving and they're not, it's not completely random insanity, then I don't mind trying to do something that I wouldn't do on a random shooter. So there's a difference, I want to, because I'm using my money more wisely that way. And so, but to go back to the other question, I've been there at the Casino Queen decades ago when it was a $3 table, and I'd spend 16 hours there with no problem, 16 hours straight. And so just wanted to put that in, that and that was a common thing for me, back in the day.
So, Dylan, my question to follow up to that, back in the day, is that really when they really threw the bones and they really weren't dice? Just kidding. Churro, there's a question here for you, Churro, that I'm going to put up here. Let me put you up here, and let me go ahead and put this one on the screen. This comes from Dustin1. It goes back to your comment that was made, Churro. Your play is records at best. I'm not sure what that means. Why qualify the shooter? I'm not sure if the records was spelt wrong or what he means by that, but why qualify the shooter? A lot of people qualify the shooter. Brian's here from Hawaii Craps Shooters. He qualifies the shooter.
Yeah. I like to go with the, if the table's going a certain way, that's kind of how, I qualify a shooter on how they're shooting. I get what he's trying to say. You can never rely on that. But I guess if I'm going to bet on somebody because I feel like they're pretty good, when I do lose, and if I lose, I guess I feel better about my bets than if I had just thrown money out there recklessly and wasn't paying attention to who was shooting, and then I lose my money. I feel like I made a smarter decision in how I was betting. Even though I lost, it makes you feel a little bit better, I guess.
Yeah, psychological. Yeah.
There's a follow-up question that we're going to take into the after show that from Dustin that wants to know how do you qualify a shooter. We've actually had a whole session on that many months ago about what everybody does to feel comfortable with shooting one. So we'll take that question into the after show if people show up for the after show. Typically, we have more people in the after show than we do here in this show. So, guys, we're rolling into 2.5 hours. Let's get one more question in here. Let's see what happens here. Let me find the question. That was a comment. Well, we're just talking about Brian. Let's put this up here. And I'm not sure if this was in the form of a question. He made that almost an hour ago. I don't know if he's still here. Brian from Hawaii Crap Shooter says a new player comes on the table with you and asks you for a strategy to play because it's his first time. What strategy would you teach him? I think I would just say put the money on the 6 and the 8 and let it ride. But let's hear what the panel says. Everybody shaking their head.
Similar to that.
Yeah. I think the 6 and the 8 are the safest bets you can make. They're low house edge. Well, the pass line too is low house edge, but show them low house edge bets because low house edge bets won't win you a lot of money or lose you a lot of money. They're basically a tie over time. So let the person have fun, enjoy the table, not get their ass kicked, and hopefully keep playing craps and want to watch our channels and learn more. That's the way I teach them. Don't go crazy with them because you'll blow their brains. Simple, simple, simple. Don't let them get hurt. And have them have fun. That's it.
Would anybody tell a new player to play dark side?
No, I wouldn't.
I would.
I wouldn't.
I would.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with doing the 6, 7, 8 with just with your don't and then having the 2 place bets.
Yeah.
So I don't have an.
I don't have
an issue with that at all.
I've done that skill. Like play the don't pass and let me explain to you what's happening while you're winning money. Let's just keep collecting those quarters, and let me tell you what's happening and why you're getting the money. And you end up making more dark side players that way, which is always a good thing.
All right. Anybody else here before we move on that's in the Zoom that's either muted or unmuted before we move on? I'm watching the time, guys, and I'm trying to shut the show down. John will hear me say it after the show. I can't believe the show went this long, and we did all these things, and each time we never know what to expect.
I got to hop out here, Jeff. My son just actually rolled into town from Oregon for the weekend. We're going to see a concert tomorrow night, so I'm actually gonna pound out here and go hang out with them for a little bit, if you don't mind.
Oh, no problem. Any daily paychecks? What's the daily paycheck theme? What's the? I'm gonna. You know what? So tomorrow, I'm gonna out him right now. I haven't heard back from him yet, but I'm supposed to have a guest tomorrow, which will be my good friend Oasis Vic. We're not going to argue about pass line with odds, I promise you. We're going to talk about some math and rolling. So in honor of Vic, I'm going to roll out my odds maker strategy. So we're going to do a pass line with odds and a don't come with odds. Progressive odds based on what the point is, and that's what's going to happen. So we're going to do basic pass line and don't come. Nice and simple all week. It's probably going to be a grind. And we'll see how it works out. But I think that's going to be a nice simple week. I'm really working hard on this unicorn come out phase. So I don't want to think in the morning at all. 7 o'clock I want to go out there and just roll and not think much. So that's yep. Well, John, you have yourself a good evening. Thanks for stopping by. We'll if we have any discussion about the Crapsy stuff afterwards, I'll keep you informed. Remember, guys, we're going to be giving away this brand new sleeve of Craps Nation dice before we go off the air. You just put the word winner, WINNER, in there. You can only enter it once. You can enter as many times as you want. The system's going to disqualify all the rest of your guesses, and we're going to give the dice away. So, John, whenever you want to back out, I'll go ahead and correct the screen, and we'll move on to this. Everybody say goodbye to John. Everybody wave to John.
Thanks, John.
Bye.
Hey, John.
Mahalo, everybody.
John.
Love y'all.
See you, John.
Hey, John, real quick.
Yep.
John.
Hey, John, real quick. Did you see the video, Chris Sideshow and me? And if you haven't,
I did.
I invite you to check it out. Okay. But
I have seen it. Actually, Chris and I talked more today. We have some new ideas. Of course.
Okay. Because I blew that mix out of the water just like I predicted. So
I know.
The thing is, I am tipping my.
I hear you. No, I hear you. I think the unicorn definitely has. Man, the unicorn is a hard one. It's such a hard brain bender because I don't want to have any holes at all. Like you have that huge hole in the 5. The way I'm doing it
Yeah.
now, I have 2 huge holes. I'm trying, like, how do I fix these damn holes, right? There's no way to fix the holes. But, yeah, I watched that whole video. Chris and I talked again today for about an hour and a half. We rolled some more stuff out. I think I got a line on this that's going to incorporate a little bit of the wedge, the storm, what you've got, and the casino quest. We just play all in one. So,
It's interesting. But
Yeah, I
I
did
didn't
watch
want to
the whole
hold you up, but it's interesting.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
All right,
Good
John.
night.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye, all.
All I got to do. Yep. All I got to
Yeah,
do
see
here,
ya.
guys, is just make a couple adjustments here, and we'll get the screen set up just on the fly here. We'll kind of center everything out here, and now we're back to the panel, guys. We are approaching over the 2 hour and 35-minute time period on this show. Let's go ahead and let me make sure that my mic is still good. My headsets are holding up. We've talked about this before, but real quick, let's hit on this. Joe just asked this question. I'm saving a couple of these questions for the after show. So let's go ahead and hit this question here. Do the gentlemen and the ladies, like the new electronic tables? We've talked about it before. I've actually had an opportunity. I assume he's probably talking about the roll to win as well as the bubble craps and the roll to win. The bubble craps or the bowl craps as well, the stadium craps. There we go. That's out there. I hate them. I tried them. I thought I would like it. I hate bubble craps. I hate stadium craps. I hate the bowl craps. I hate roll to win. That's my 2 cents worth. Anybody else in here want to chime in real quick?
I just want to say I got a chance to watch Holy Roller and Dice Degen play. Was that considered roll to win, Chris?
Yes.
At Harris?
That's the roll to win.
Yeah, that's roll to win. Yes.
And I remember the first comment out of Chris's mouth was that the one end really favors the casino because the table was a little bit uneven, right?
Yeah, they had they basically had their normal layout, and then when you were going towards the back wall, like 6 inches off the back wall, there was an inset with a lip going into it, the same surface, and a lip coming out of it.
That wasn't there when I was there in October.
The speed bumps, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the speed bumps were there, but that little lip wasn't there when I was there in October. Chris, I wonder if somebody fell on it or something.
That's actually interesting. So, I'll just comment quickly on the question and why. So I don't love roll to win tables. I don't hate them, but I don't love them. And I did love it when it was at my local, when they'd let you shoot from the middle of the table. At Harris, they don't let you shoot from the position to the right or left of middle. Now, why did I like it? Well, as some of you now know, I'm 6 foot. I have over a 6 foot wingspan. The table's 8 foot. From the middle, I can almost reach the back wall and drop the dice, right? So I loved that. Plus, my local didn't have the speed bumps in the beginning. It was one flat surface that I could almost drop the dice on the back wall. It was fantastic. Now, you can't shoot from, it's the same thing at Harris in Vegas, and it's the same thing at my local. You can't shoot from the middle left or middle one, or right one, and then they have the speed bump in there now. And what the speed bump does is it stops you from sliding the dice. People were just sliding them across. And now you can't slide them with the speed bump because you'll get caught and it won't hit the back wall. And you'll get told you can't hit the back wall. Now my local doesn't let you set the dice on the roll to win table. If you don't, as soon as they push them, if you start doing anything with them, they're going to warn you once, they warn you twice, third time, dice go to the next person. Not that I think I can set dice on that kind of table, but it's short, and I just don't like the speed bumps in there. I don't like it. I prefer playing on a regular table.
All right, let me get this in here. Analyzer, if your audio was on, your hand is raised. I had to mute you a minute ago because you had some background noise there. Come on in and bring your voice in. You don't have to show the video. Do you have any comments on anything we've said so far tonight? I'm trying to give you an opportunity to be heard.
Hey guys, could you hear me now?
Hey there.
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Hey, the last comment I guess I had Well, I wrote down about like I don't like half tables, and I don't know what's the last thing you were talking about because I was kind of fidgeting with my phone.
We're talking about electronics tables right now at the moment. Roll to win,
All right.
bubble craps.
All right, I never tried electronic table. I've only done bubble craps. That's the closest I've done to those tables. But is there electronic table they're at the stadium, right? In Vegas?
Well, they're all over the place, but yes, they have the Planet Hollywood has the stadium with the bowl. There's a couple other places in Vegas that has it. The one that Chris was referring to, I believe, was in his backyard.
Okay.
Well, I know
Yeah,
it seemed like you wanted to make a it seems like you wanted to make a comment earlier about something else, so you couldn't get the audio fixed. While you have the floor here, was something else you'd like to say before we move on to the next question?
Yeah, like I said, I lost my train of thought. So maybe now that my audio's on, you guys could go straight to the next question, and I can make now.
All right. Well,
Okay, fantastic.
All right, thank you. I'm going to put this out here. I appreciate that, Vince. We're not ending the show, Vince, not just quite yet. We're at 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's not a record. We have 61 people currently watching. But, Vince, we're going to stay there. We go to the after show, Vince, and that's where everybody cuts loose, and it's a lot different than it is here formally on YouTube with well, let's just say it gets pretty wild at times in the after show. The discussion goes. So let me go back over here to a question. I really want to save that question because I'm afraid it's going to take us too long. And without Brian being here, I would like Brian to be here. I don't know, Brian from Hawaii Crap Shooters, if you're still here in the audience, put something in the chat, and we'll do that question before we go. We did that question there. Sorry, guys.
Electronic one on the roll to win, at least.
Sure. Go ahead, Nemo. While I'm queuing something up. Go ahead.
Yeah. Me, it's a little different. When I was over at the WinStar, the roll to win was a flat service. But the only issue with the WinStar roll to win this time is that the stick person has to put the stick in the middle of the whole thing, and you have to literally toss it over the stick, and that's the only issue there. I didn't see no speed bump, but I did fairly decent there when I did the roll to win. I had a 16 roller, but other than that, I didn't have any issues with the setting the dice. I had no warnings, but I guess it's just different from casino to casino.
Okay.
Usually they have usually on those roll to win tables, the dealer has a specific place to stand, and it's next to a keypad that they've got to type in the stuff. So I'm not for sure. You know, you're saying it's roll to win. Are you? I mean, I assume. I mean, I know you.
It is because the stick person was is the only person out of the whole.
Yeah, there's only one dealer.
Position.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then the thing is, when I was there, it's just they literally had. I saw it. Literally had to put the stick right in the middle, and you really have to toss the dice over the stick. Otherwise, it just makes no sense doing it. So that's the reason why.
I've seen that, Dylan. I know what exactly what Nemo's talking about. Yeah.
That's probably
that's
just
kind of unusual.
Dealer.
Yeah, I was going to say because that's kind of unusual because the roll to win tables that I've been to across the United States are not. They're not like that. I mean, the stick doesn't have their stick up or on the table and holding it or whatever. They'll put it to the side or they'll it's not like that. So I'm trying to imagine. Exactly.
But the thing is that when I was in Oklahoma at the WinStar, just give you a heads up. This is just a real name casino over in Oklahoma when I was there. They literally had the stick right in the middle. You have to hop it over, otherwise it won't be countable.
Huh. I've actually seen that.
Did you want to slide them, Nemo?
I've never heard that though with the stick there. I think it was just a dealer just putting it there probably.
No, Arnell,
Yeah.
I know exactly. I know exactly what he's talking about. I've actually seen it because you know how they have that little plastic section. It's about 6 inches long across it that you have to throw the dice over. This stick would be there. You had to clear the dice over the stick, and the dealer was standing. The stick was actually closer to the landing side of the roll to win side of it, whichever side the shooter was shooting on. I actually did see that. That's before they put that plastic piece in there. They put a plastic piece that you have to reach over on the bowl side of it. On the roll to win side of it, I have seen them hold up the stick.
My local
I
got
didn't play
rid of
it.
putting the stick on the table because the dice would hit off the back wall and come hit the stick.
Yeah, I
So
can
now,
see that.
now they don't let the dealers put the stick there because they tried that at first and they'd put the stick there for that exact reason. You got to throw it over the stick because if you try to slide them, you're going to hit the stick. But what happened too often, because it's a short table, and if someone's, like let's say we have Greg throwing and Greg's hitting that back wall, I mean those dice are going to come back and they're going to hit the stick. So they got rid of putting the stick on, and now you're not allowed to put the stick on the table. But I have seen it before where they do put the stick down on the table.
Chiro, did you chuckle because you thought he said Craig, not Greg?
No, no, I heard him. I was wondering, Nemo, are you wanting to slide the dice? Were you? I mean, because
the thing is I'm a shooter. I don't slide or do anything shady. I am a person that's like want to see my results in a practice zone. I shoot in 3 positions only that I favor. I shoot from the back wall and the back wall hook to the left and SR2. Those are my 3 positions that I shoot from a table. That is it.
Ivan,
Yes.
are you done playing with the boys?
Not yet.
Oh, Joy has spoken. All right, guys, we're going to head into the last question. I'm going to do this now because Brian from Hawaii Crap Shooters is still with us. Brian, if you can jump in to the Zoom call here if you're able to. I'm not sure exactly what you're currently doing because you're 7 hours behind us, which means that you theoretically could still be working, but I don't know that. But the question comes earlier from Churro, and it comes from Dusted, and I'm going to go ahead and do it now, and I know it's going to create probably a variety of questions, but here it goes, guys. Last question of the night is really, how do you qualify a shooter? Now, there's different opinions, and I like, when I first started watching Brian over at HCS, I like the way that he worded it. I'm not so sure that Brian is still doing a qualified shooter. I know that Golden Touch has their 5 roles. Everybody has their own way to qualify the shooter. My way of qualifying the shooter is to watch the mechanics of how they throw the dice, the consistency in what they do, and the accuracy of not only what they're doing, but also how consistent they are with hitting numbers that are not the bad number. So that's my answer. Churro, that was really geared towards you. So how do you qualify the shooter? And then I'm going to go to Arnell next. Hopefully Brian will jump in here.
Pretty much the same way, Jeff. I really like to watch, like when it's the first time that they're shooting that I'm at the table, and I'm noticing how they're doing it. I like to watch how they hold the dice, what they're doing to the dice. I like to look at their chips. I want to see what kind of bets they're putting out there. How are they betting? Their landing zone. That's an important one too, in my opinion. How accurate are they at throwing? Now, we are talking about somebody who's, a dice setter. Somebody who's a random shooter can still be a really good shooter and really know what they're doing too. So I'm not just looking at if they're dice setting. I am noticing, a realm of different things. But yeah, I do definitely like to qualify a shooter.
Okay. Dylan, you're shaking your head. Do you qualify a shooter? And if so, what is your mechanism for qualification?
Well, just like you said, they've got to prove themselves to be consistent and not completely and not random. And so, again, just what all of you guys have said before. I don't want to keep beating the same horse, but it's consistency, landing zone, grip. You're paying attention to every little thing, and so it is what it is. And if they're consistent and they're hitting the same landing zone and they're doing the same thing and they're trying, then yeah, I'll bet more money on that person, because I'll watch what their numbers are and see if they have dominant numbers, or clusters of numbers, and go from there. And so and that's how I qualify them. But it doesn't happen all at once. If I just approach the table, I'm not gonna know right away for each shooter. So I've got to be patient and bet low on everybody, and to qualify them on their first come out. Then I've got to make a mental note. Oh, this person kind of looks like is intriguing enough where I can bet a higher amount the next round, once it's gone around the table and the dice get back to that same shooter. So unless they get on a super hot roll immediately, then I'm still going to analyze their play. I'm still going to analyze, oh, they're hitting the landing zone. It's gonna come to me, but I'm still going to be behind a few rolls before I actively go more aggressive with that. And it's just that, and that's how I would do it, or that's how I do it.
All right, Arnell, I got you a spotlight for two reasons. One, I didn't know who was coming into the Zoom, so I wanted to make sure it was safe. And two, I know we talk all the time on Live Fantasy Craps. You shoot every week with almost the same people. Some people suck like I did this past week, and other ones are good, like Ed had that real long roll, and a couple. You had a good roll not too long ago as well. Do you qualify the shooter?
Well, if it's any of you guys that I talk to online, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and wait, do a 5 count or anything like that. I'll probably bet, conservative, but, try to get as many of the numbers covered as possible. If it's just even on myself, I'm just mainly betting inside numbers and then try to, hit outside after. So I would probably bet that on most of you guys. If you're talking about, like, when I go to casinos myself, and if it's my locals, even if it's a random shooters, I don't care if it's, their setting or whatever, but if I know them and they're even if they're shooting random, because I've played with them for years, I'll even bet, the randoms the same way I bet on myself. But
Really?
if it's somebody I don't know, then I'm betting 1 or 2 numbers and see where it goes from there. But as far as qualifying, I want to give everybody, the benefit of the doubt, because you don't know when the good roll is going to happen. So I definitely want to be out there from the get-go. But usually it's only 1 or 2 numbers.
All right, that's very. I knew that's just about what you were going to say, and you said it so eloquently as well. We do have. Looks like Brian has joined us probably briefly. Brian, hit your mute. You're muted on your side of it, Brian, and I'll bring you in, and let's talk about qualifying the shooter. I'm glad you could join us, Brian. Thank you for coming on.
Hey guys, what's up, everybody?
Welcome to Craps Chat.
I know.
Not his first appearance.
Going at it. Wonderful chat. Great conversation.
Welcome back.
Love hearing all of you guys' input.
So qualifying the shooter, Brian. What do you say? What say you?
Yeah, earlier in my stages, I had to qualify. You can't play. And I say it in my videos. You can't be a one-trick pony and bet the same with everybody. But Chiro said it exactly like I would say it. You gotta see if they're taking care of the dice. See what they're. I mean, a dice setter can still be a random shooter. They just seen somebody just set the hard ways and they'll throw it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're a good shooter. But consistency is what I'm looking for. Watching their bet patterns. If they have simple bets, they may be just a beginner still. But if they got some kind of strategy, like all of you YouTubers play, that they take time in, and they may be shooting to match their strategy. Also watching them when they regress. When they regress, they have less stress on themselves. When they do regress and come down to minimum, you need to watch that. And I always say you got to follow the shooter. Because their confidence level will depend on your bankroll. And if they have a high risk, their concentration is super high, because they got a lot of money out there. But once they regress, it's a big relief for them. And I put on my best just as much as the shooter. So a lot of people don't look at that, but also when they get distracted with the cocktail waitress, or the spouse comes talking, or another player is talking to them and throwing them off their game, you got to watch those kind of things too. So it's like a poker table. You got to be aware. Awareness is key. But that's just to protect your own bankroll. But if the shooter goes off, anybody can go off. The random roller can go off. But if the random roller is a consistent thrower, throwing it in the same spot, sometimes you get a big hand, but you never know. But you want to take your chance as much as you can in that time period, so that way you don't waste. Nowadays, I don't do the 5 count. I don't want to waste any time. You guys know I do my light switch. Light switch really doesn't have, it protects you while you're qualifying, but you still can make money. And I think that's a great strategy, trying to make money while you're qualifying. That way you don't waste any rolls as well. So I'm liking that strategy.
All right. Brian, real quick, I'll answer your question live here. I'm sorry I didn't return what you asked me earlier today. I came home, had a technical issue. As soon as we're out of the post show, I'll send it to you. I hope that if you haven't gotten it yet, I'll still send it to you. So I apologize for not following through on what I told you earlier today.
Don't tell everybody you're sending me 10 shirts for the crew on live, all right?
Okay. I will.
That's right. We're all going to want one.
Yeah. Brian, thanks for joining us. You're welcome to stay. I have 2 people that have their hands up. I'm going to go to Nemo first. Nemo, your hand is up. Did you have a comment on qualifying the shooter, since you said you were a DI?
Yes, I'm a DSIer. Same thing, same process, but the only thing is I also add in bet scenarios, bet situations. So depends on my gut feeling on the shooter. I also add in my bets, pass sign, don't pass, or if not at all, depending on scenario. So it all depends on betting scenario too. So it all depends on how your intuition is into the mind of what's going on the table and the environment. So not much more to say. And Brian, mabuhay.
Yeah, Brian just dropped off. He only had a few seconds, so he's gone, but he'll be back. He's been a guest. Oh, there he is. He's been a guest on the show before. Yep.
Hey,
oh, you heard that.
Don't forget my chips. I'm still waiting on them.
Oh, it's been mailed out. You should have had it.
Okay, I'll check.
All right, Margaret, Analyzer Fields, your hand is up. Did you have something you wanted to contribute?
Yes. Not since I've been watching you guys. I really haven't, looked at people if they're dice setting or random rolling, because I've been playing for 10 years myself, and I never really paid attention to that. But
okay.
I notice the way I look at when I qualify a shooter is I usually start out on the dark side to have a feel of what the number is, and I always have my numbers working in the beginning. So, if they hit a hot roll, or if they're a random roller, you don't miss anything. And also, since my last name is really Fields, I don't know, it seems like if I don't bet the field, it's bad for me. But when I usually do that, I'm usually a hot shooter that day. But if I forget to do it, it's just a weird thing.
All right. Well, thanks for your input there. Let's go around. Anybody else on the panel? Ron, you're still with us. You haven't said too much. You can unmute your mic if you want to say something. If you want to sit there and continue to listen, that's fine. Anybody else in the panel want to talk about qualifying the shooter?
I'll usually do, just minimum action. So if it's like a $10 table or something, I'll just do the hard ways for 2 each and maybe like $1 on the NE7. Just to see how the table goes. But I think somebody said earlier about not actually qualifying the shooter, but qualifying the throws. You know, following the trend.
No, I agree with you, Craig. I'm not sure where that background noise is coming from, but I'll keep an eye on that. Anybody else? So, Ron, you look like you want to talk. Would you like to say something? You're muted, Ron. You're muted on your side, Ron. Unmute your screen, and you should be watching the Zoom connection, not the YouTube connection, because we're actually 21 seconds delayed on YouTube at the moment. At least that's what my software's telling me. All right, so okay, guys, look, we just pushed over the 3-hour limit, which is almost a record here. We've got these dice to give away. Make sure you put winner, WINNER, in the chat, because we're going to give them away here in just a few minutes. We're going to go around the table here and talk to everybody on this, the season finale, episode 20. Of season finale of season 1, episode 20, and we're going to start with let's see who we're going to start with. Let's start with Nemo. Let's start with you. Your first time on the show, 20th episode. You're new to craps. You have a wonderful craps mind. You're excellent at math. Unmute yourself and give us a couple last words before we get out of here and head to the post show.
Well, if anybody else knows me quite well, and as I've been pretty much, you know, quite known in the Discord community along with the YouTube creators, hit me up if you want some pointers. I don't mind anytime talking to anyone who's willing to, you know, see the mindset of what I see and give nice insight to those who are willing to, you know, understand that mind concept. But keep in mind, doesn't mean Crapsody is the best way to go, but I do have a right mindset.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's go over here. Churro, you're next. Final words as we close out the season finale.
It has been awesome, Jeff. You and Dylan have really put on an amazing thing here. It's been so much fun. I think all of us in the entire community wait for this, so it's so much fun being part of this. Nemo, I'm going to check out your thing that you sent me on Discord because I'm excited about that. And Analyzer Fields, first time I met you, so it's a pleasure. And, you know, I love it. I love being part of the community and looking forward to the new table and looking forward to new content that I'm going to be putting out. So be on the lookout for that.
All right, thank you, Churro. Let's go over to. I'm going to put that comment up there from JR because he's right. Craps is a negative expectation game, and so that's true. And JR has been putting comments in most of the night. I'm trying to go through them, guys. Hold on one second. We're over 1,800 chats at the moment, and I can't get to them all. So, Analyzer, did you have one other final comment? Because I was going to come back to you, but we can go to you next.
Oh, I want to thank Chero. It was nice, a pleasure, and thanks everybody for your patience. Because I'm not really, you know, tech savvy, and I kind of glad that I made it to the end of the show, and that's what I would like to say.
Okay.
I enjoy watching all you guys' channels. It gave me a new insight on my playing.
All right. Well, thank you. Welcome to the show, and we hope you come back in the future. Let's go ahead right on down the line with Churro. We're going to go over to Chris Dice Legion, and welcome to Big AZ in the chat. Churro, I don't know if you saw what he put up there, but he put something up there for you, Churro.
What's that?
Churro, Big AZ has just put up in the chat, and it must be an inside joke, that Churro hit the emergency button. The firefighters can get you out of the elevator. All right. Let's go. Chris Dice Legion, final words.
Big shout out to you, Jeff, for hosting, Dylan, for being the creator of this. You guys do an awesome job each and every time you guys put this on, so big shout out to you guys. Shout out to everyone on the panel. It was great chatting with all of you. Everyone in chat, you guys ask great questions, and watching you guys go through the chat, because I have it up on the side. Phenomenal, and appreciate you all. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Healthy New Year. all that good stuff, and I hope everyone has a good rest of 2022 and a strong start to 2023.
Thank you, Chris. Craig, you're next. Old Bay Craps, another neighbor of mine. Microphone.
There you go. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Jeff. This Craps Chat has been a wonderful forum to meet people, to chat with people in the green room prior and the post show. All the great people in the chat who have been asking questions and also commenting and put in things of encouragement to the panelists and to each other. It's a great community. It's a great thing you have here. I look forward to it every time you all have this forum. It only just keeps getting better and better, and the channels keep growing and the community keeps growing, and it's just been wonderful. Thanks to the panel. Chris, I'll see you soon. Chira, I hope to see you someday in person again to shoot with you, because we didn't get to do that in Vegas. I look forward to the January meetup, if that's what we do for the locals. And for everybody out there, happy holidays, and hug somebody, will you?
Nice, thanks, Craig. I appreciate that. Before we go to Leon, guys, remember, if you just joined in the show, I've got this, the only hands that have touched this set of dice here, Craps Nation Red 775 dice, with serial number 0081. Could have been 1800. 0081. Put the word winner, WINNER, in the chat, and you'll qualify to do that. We're slowly diminishing some of our viewers, but we were going to give this away as soon as we get done. Leon, you're next up. Final words for this, the season finale of season 1 of Craps Chat.
Well, I think this is the biggest panel we've had since I started coming on this show fairly regularly back midsummer, I think it was. And it's pretty neat to see it grow like this. Look forward to season 2. Let's go.
Let's go. Thank you. I appreciate it. Short and sweet. I like that. Let's see. Was that Phase Dragon? Any final words from you?
Yeah, I just want to say that when I discovered this channel, I was excited. And I was even more excited that I got to join this group, this video. As I'm just starting out, and any jump start that I can get is awesome.
Well, you've got several
I'm a
YouTube
programmer too, so I think of things in the programming mindset, and so I look at this group as more of like a open source kind of a scenario where everybody contributes and everybody else looks at other people's contributions and decides whether or not they're good.
You know that there's a lot of YouTube content providers here. I hope you've liked and subscribed to every one of them. This channel here at the Casino Gaming TV is put on by John from Pro Craps for the community. He takes care of all the technical stuff. We have shows that come on, like the guy to your, I guess it would be, to me, it's your left, Arnell. He does Wednesday night live fantasy craps. That's a good show. You got Dice Deej in there. He's doing a sports, right up your alley there. He does a sports betting show. I'm not sure what to call that. Something fantasy. Tell me what it is, Chris. Thank you. He does that show. So we got a lot that's going on here. I have my own channel. Craig has his channel. Leon has his. Churro. We got Brian that's there. So let's go. We're having a couple people drop off here. Brian, you're still here. Would you like to say any final words to our audience since you popped in here? You want to unmute yourself, Brian, from Hawaii Crap Shooters? If not, we'll move on. Give Brian a second to turn off his microphone. I think he's still listening. But, okay. Brian's not going to come back on. That's no problem. Did I miss anybody? Arnell, did I give you an opportunity to say your final words?
Oh man, can't believe this your end of your first season. Congrats to you and Dylan and everybody that contributes and chat, supports everybody, all your panel guests that come on the show all the time. I mean, I look forward to watching it, whenever you schedule. So hopefully next year it grows, and if you're in the chat, feel free to jump on. It's just a Zoom link.
Yep, just a Zoom link. I think I hit everybody in the Zoom that's left. Does anybody in the Zoom, did I miss anybody? Because I could have done it because you guys switched around on my screen. Did I miss anybody? I got everybody? All right, guys, coming up in 2023, we've actually have some good guests lined up. It's just hard to coordinate with somebody on a Sunday night, especially when one of them's halfway around the world, the other one is across the country. So it's kind of difficult for us to do this. We are going to have a recorded interview with somebody that I'm going to play during one of the episodes, and then they'll be in the chat, but they won't be able to be on here for reasons you'll see when we get to it. So even Dylan didn't know that secret. So, coming up in 2023, guys, we're going to try to make this bigger and better, and we can't do it without you. We need you, the viewer, the subscriber, to tune in about every other week. There won't be another show in 2023. We're going to come back after the first of the year, and we've got some guests lined up. And as you can see, we just take the questions. No guests today. We took questions from the panel. We've been going 3 hours and 15 minutes. I'm going to kick it over to the creator of the show. That's that way. The creator of the show, Dylan's idea. I'm just a mechanic here running everything. Dylan, I'll give you the final words before we get out of here.
Well, again, thank you to everyone. I mean, this has been a nice little project that we've got here going, and I can't say enough to the community. This year has flown by, and I'm sure the next year is going to do the same. And we're just looking forward to doing better and bigger things with all of you. So this doesn't work without each and every one of you putting in your 2 cents, because your 2 cents counts. So we all want to make this work, and it only works when you all get involved, via the chat or via Zoom or however you want to put your 2 cents in. But we really want this to be based around the whole community, and to get everyone's thoughts, and everyone is welcome. So please, we want to hear from you. So, but I want to thank Jeff. Thank you so much for your hard work. I'm just the fly on the wall, and so I can't take a huge amount of credit, but I want to say thank you so much for your diligence and your hard work. You're wearing so many hats and everything. It's just amazing what you do. You're so much appreciated and loved, and so I can't say that enough. I look forward to next year, and so again, I want to wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and the whole 9 yards, and good health to everyone, because that's very, very, very important as we all get older. You can't never take that for granted. So I don't know when Jeff, do you want to start us back at Craps Chat again in January? Is the $64,000 question?
Well, that is still the $64,000 question, Skill, because there is a week in there, and then somebody has a birthday, and I'm not sure where we're going to fit it in, but I want to get 2 crap chats in the month of January. I want to make sure that we at least get to 20 episodes again for next year, and in order to do that, we have to do at least two a month. We did 1 month with 3, 1 month, a couple months with 1 because of the summer months. I don't have a tentative date yet, Skill. You and I will talk about that. I want to line up. I want it to coincide with a couple of the guests that we're going to bring on and have them be part of this. So you and I will talk about this. And with that said, guys, you heard Dylan give me props. It's not me. It's all of us. It's a teamwork here. We do it together as a team, and we work as a team. I'm watching the chat now. There is some really interesting chat going on there between a couple people that's sort of starting to get a little out of hand, but it's good to have debate, and that's what this show's about. We want you to come on. We want you to give us the questions. We want to field. There's no silly question. There's no question that can't be asked within reasons with Craps. So come on, join us in 2023, and whatever you're celebrating this year, this season, whatever you're celebrating, whatever the season is for you, I hope it's a wonderful, joyous time for you and your family. Whatever you're celebrating, Merry Christmas and a very prosperous, especially for the crap side, 2023 to you guys on behalf of Dylan from Skill and Luck and all the panel guests that are still here. We're going to go into the after show, guys. Same link in the description below. Hit the description below, and you'll be able to get in it. It's time now, guys, to give this set of dice away. I almost forgot about Forgot about that. So let me switch over to my software here, guys. You guys that are in Zoom, hang in there. If you drop off, it's okay. We never know what to expect in the post show. So the after show, we'll see what happens. I have to get over here, guys. One last chance. If you haven't typed the word winner, WINNER, we're going to be giving away a Craps Nation red set of dice, serial number 0081, only touched by my hands, and all the dice have not been out of the sleeve yet. That's courtesy of the Craps Nation. If you're not familiar with Craps Nation, ask one of us. We certainly can point you in the right direction, because in addition to this community, Craps Nation is very, very important to a lot of us that are on the show here. That is official casino-grade dice. You can't get them anymore because Midwest Gaming isn't making them for us. They won't make them for anybody but casinos. That could be a collector's item at some point. All right, guys, here we go. I'm going to put a couple dots in here just to make sure my software is working, and then we're going to give it a spin here. Is everybody ready? Let me make sure I got this set up. Everything goes. Here we go, guys.
Dice would look really good on my new table, Jeff. Just saying.
I hear you, Churro. I hear you. All right. Making sure everybody is keyed in and ready to go. I'm hoping that this is going to work this time, because here we go, guys. On 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Let's see who's going to win the dice. Looks like it's going to be Dan DVD. That's what that is. Dan DVD has won the giveaway. Dan D, and that stands for DVD. Congratulations, Dan, on the giveaway.
Happy holidays.
All right.
Merry
I
Christmas.
appreciate that. All right, guys, on behalf of Dial and all the people down there, John from a little while ago, and everybody throughout the entire year that we've had on the show, we've had some big-name Craps people on the show, from Jeremy to Jacob to Brian, who's on again tonight. We've had a couple, we've had El Toro on the show this past year. We've got some things coming up, and if anybody knows anything about a crappy craps guy, look for him in 2023, okay? That's all I'm going to tell you. Guys, till next time, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Hang in there, guys. Till then, hey, you know what I'm going to say? What is it? What? Play smart. Play smart. Be safe. Be safe. Play smart. Be safe and play smart. And, as Brian would say, may the dice be nice.